Hey everybody, hey Sinestella. Just making sure the green screen is okay. That looks good. This is not good. It's been a week since I've streamed last. It was Monday of last week, and it was a combination of things that happened that caused me to just take a week off. And I wanted to write about it a little bit in here. So let's do that. All right, so tenant review. Just gonna focus on sustainability this time since I didn't really stream last week. What do I want to say about this? I don't know if I needed to take a week off. I have been working a lot more than normal, but it didn't feel like it was getting too extreme. It was probably a combination of my wife, I guess, like being in pain on Monday and her having time off caused me to take my own time off. Yeah, I think it's worth trying to figure out what happened here because I didn't plan on taking a vacation. And by vacation, I just mean vacation time, not going anywhere. And I don't think it's a problem to then take that time. I have a flexible schedule. And it's not like I'm going to miss a deadline or something as a result of that. But I am planning on taking some time in January toward the end of it. And that's part of the reason why mid-January is going to be when the next alpha launches. So there's a lot to just kind of figure out between now and then. And yet it is a slow time of year for a lot of people. Anyway, hey Pressel. Yeah, I don't think there's a problem. So today we're going to merge a commit from Quickie Joe. There's a lot of art and font changes. And then what else do we have here? Autosave is done, right? Did I write something in here? Yeah, I think this is done. I think we can. All right, I still don't really want to tackle this thing yet. Probably do that later in the week. So I think today we'll be merging this and then some miscellaneous tasks. Maybe some lighter work just to get back in the swing of things. Although merging this might be all of the work I can do today. I'm not sure. We'll see. Happy upcoming Christmas. Christian accent. Yeah, you got to put a space after the emotes when they're parentheses. Yeah. Happy upcoming Christmas to you too. By the way, today is the final mentoring session I have planned. It is with 3D Extended. It is session number 9. So I put the past mentoring sessions here in this tab. There's also an only for Adam thing. What is this? Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, they spanned pretty much a year. And even with 3D Extended, it will have been a year and 2 days. This is crazy. Crazy. It's been cool to see this all play out and everything. And I enjoyed doing it. I think that in the future, I think I want to pursue one-off mentoring sessions more than the series. But anyway, we'll figure that out. There's time. This is not the right USB cable that I'm trying to plug this into. All right, so this is the commit that I wanted to look at. The fireball graphic looks a lot better than what we were using, and I'm glad this is here. I'm going to write some notes about things I need to do. Things I still need to do. Use the skulls in the font, get rid of the old fireball graphic. All right, that looks good. Idle battlers. Why did it not just open that? View file. There we go. Oh, cool. He added a shield to the paladin in battle. I like that. Hey, Sockton. Morning to you too. Yeah, I'm glad to be back. I was just kind of writing this down. I don't know if I needed to take a break necessarily. But yeah, I was kind of upside down on Monday of last week. I'm feeling good now. I played a lot of Slay the Spire in the last like 4 days or something. I started my first ever game of it was on Thursday. And then I put in quite a lot of hours in the last whatever that is, 4 days or something. Yeah, this looks good. I like this. Assuming no Wednesday stream. I think I am going to stream on Wednesday. I'm not totally sure. I don't have any major Christmas plans. I will probably do some stuff tomorrow, but I don't know about on Wednesday. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, yeah. It was nice. It was relaxing. I got to just spend some time off. I think it was good. Hey, Connery. Only game of 100% on Steam. Only game, really? Wow. I'm I'm surprised because I think the sort of energy to 100% a game, and it seems like Slay the Spire, if you 100% it, takes minimally like my guess is 200 plus hours. That probably you would 100% another game too. All right, something's going on here. I don't understand what this is. Hmm. It's like these widgets are broken for some reason because it should be showing something here and it's just not. Is this what is this? What's causing this? Is this Dark Reader? Huh, I might need to refresh. I'm not sure. How about 190 hours? Pretty spot on. Yeah, I was gonna say because I don't know when did the game come out? Like 2019 or 2020. It's probably not a spoiler to just talk about there are ascension levels, and there are what 20 per character or something, and each run takes probably on average like 30 to 90 minutes. So I was thinking just that alone, if you perfectly do every single run you ever do, it's minimally like I don't know 100 hours. So probably double that. Anyway, yeah, it has been fun. Also, my wife played the game a ton too, and so we've been talking about it a lot. This shadow is added. I don't know if this shadow was used anywhere. We got to take a look at that. Shadow.png. The battler now has it. Okay, that's good. And then I think there was town shadow as well. Is there an underscore in that? Shadow town, that's what it's called. All right, and what uses this? Adventurer, customer, worker. These should all probably inherit from the same thing if they don't already. Yeah. Adventurer, customer, and worker should probably all inherit from an entity. A town entity, maybe? Yeah. Uses the shadow. I'll just take a look at that too. So far, so good. So far, so good. Let's keep going. Shadow town, totally fine. So font changes are pretty much impossible to see the difference of here. I wonder how we look at this. See if we can, I don't know, look at the new characters or the new glyphs in that. You should just be able to open this up. I know in Windows you can. There must be something on Mac that lets you do that. Skeleseller hand and Skeleseller main. I gotta figure out what these fonts actually are. Yeah, I'll write that down. Ask Quickie Joe what the fonts are that we're using. Are they custom? Skeleseller hand and Skeleseller main. Hand and main. Okay. All right, card. What is card? I think this just changed. No, this is new. Okay, what uses this? Card.png. Party member base. Okay, that's fine. Well, wait a second. What? Why is this showing up this way? I'm so confused by this because, as I mentioned, even this. Okay, now it's working. It was getting cut off before. Like everything was broken here. So card should show. Yeah, it just changed. Okay. Yeah, this widget is broken. If you look over here, they have a couple of nice things for looking at this. Like you can swipe between these, or you could have it slowly fade between one and the other. So you can see the changes. It's a little tough here because all we're looking at is a tiny shadow, but you can still see it changing as I swipe between these two things. And yeah, that wasn't working in the other tab that I had. All right, where do we get to here? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We looked at the fonts. Yep, yep. Okay, fireball. So now fireball is a scene. Let's maybe pull this in. How do we do this? Yo, what branch am I on? Autosave. Did I not push this? I must have pushed this. Huh. Add autosave system. Oh, I gotta look through the PRs too. We'll write that in here. Look through PRs and look through checkpoint 5 issues and assign them to myself if needed. Yeah, so I added this in. We can go back to main. I can fetch quickie and then cherry pick this commit in. And then I think things will be broken. Could not apply. It's resolving conflicts. Yeah. Where is there a conflict though? What changed here? Tavern sign and explorer sign. Tavern sign now points to a different scene. Where's tavern sign? These UID issues are going to be the death of us. They're getting fixed in the next Godot launch, I think. All right, this is BWN2. There it is, BWN2. They both are, though. Oh, this didn't have that. Okay, I see. This was based on an old commit. Hey, Shoe Strikers. Welcome in, welcome in. I think that was it. I think that's the only change we need to do. Click the plus, click this. I'll say add fonts and make style changes. Commit is from Quickie Joe. The original message is this. Commit. Okay, does this build? Does this work? Oh, hey, the font is different. I wonder if this is the custom one. I am intrigued. Let's try running this and see what happens. So the only thing I messaged Quickie Joe about this, there's one tiny little change that is slightly sad to me, and it's that the mage no longer has a pointy hat. Let me see if I can find this. It's got to be the adventurer's car. Here it is. Yeah. So if I do the swipe thing here, I mean you can already just see it side by side, but take a look at the mage changing on the top. This was the old style with the pointy hat, and now it's just a hat. It's not a pointy hat anymore. It looks good. I like that hat. Oh, cool. They've got their shadows now. Neat. Neat. Oh, wow, we have an animated money thing up there too. Cool. Huh. Ah, and we have the shadow here. Yeah. Very neat. Do we have the skull icon? No, it's still a diamond. Okay, we gotta actually use that somewhere. To look into that too. But there was something that prompted me to do this that wasn't this stuff. What was it? It was this file, Fireball. Yeah, I want to see, is this looking good? Let's try it out. Let's start a battle here, pick the mage, start battle, and then just take a look. Oh man, this looks great. All right, I like this a lot. I do want to see what happens when this dies. How do we do that? I guess we go to just a difficult battle. Yeah, I go here and we start a battle. Oh wait, no, that won't work because it's gonna, well, maybe it will. Let's take a look. The mage should die. I just want to see, is the death animation in? Well, I think the adventurers just get removed from the battle at the end. Okay, we got to put in a couple then. Maybe like these. Waiting for them to reach the portal. There they go. This looks so good. All right, we're just looking for the death animation. Yeah, nice. Oh, and then they fade out. I wonder if they should stay. Huh. Very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, those idle animations do quite a lot. I guess we should also say mark the issues is done. Mark the issues done. Like adding the idle animation. Okay. Yeah, let's keep looking through this. So Battler added a shadow, totally fine. This is fine too. New map, that's awesome. Yeah, this thing that you're talking about, this is totally new. And this is what Kevin did just before starting his vacation. This addressed so many different problems that we had. Like, I don't know if you know what the old panel looked like or remember it, but it was just something that popped up on the right side here and had a list of like forest dungeon or whatever. You picked your party and it was a vertical set of sections here. So now you can see exactly who's in your party and who isn't because they're very visually distinct here and they're dedicated areas on the screen. Yes, this thing is moving a little bit. It's jumping. So we got to fix that, but that's something we'll have to look into. Then you can see what the locations are that you haven't unlocked in the game. You know how many there are. You can tell what a location drops. So it's a small blue potion here. And you can unlock the next locations through this too. So now clicking the portal does that. Anyway, yeah, way better in tons of ways. It is great. So let's just change the margin on the bottom. I think that's fine. Yeah. This is deleted from here. That I don't understand. But I don't know what this used to look like. Hey, 3D extended. Party member base. Oh. Interesting. I guess he wanted it to be white. Card over. Do we still have that? Card over? Assets UI. Card over. Oh, this was to add like a little shine or something. If I recall correctly. Did this open? Oh, there it is. Yeah, it adds like a little shine effect. I wonder why he removed this. I don't mind either way, but I do want to ask about it. What fonts are we using? Are they custom? So these two things, and then so card over, does that exist anywhere now? No. Do we plan to use card over.png? Saw that it was removed from party member base, so now it's unused. All right, looking good though. Let's keep going here. So use a different font, and then I saw there's a font file used everywhere. This should be part of no, this is fine. Yeah. Hey Matt, Merry Christmas. Thanks for the resub. Actually, Merry December 23rd. Do you have any big plans, Matt? Okay, so these are just theme files and they all use the different font now. I should take a look around and just see what this looks like in the game. Skill tree, what changed here? Theme went up to the top. Okay, that's good. That's definitely a good change. Or what about this? We use the shadow, we position it correctly, looks fine. Customer, same thing, use the shadow, position it. This is the coin graphic. I think this should maybe be in its own scene. It's probably only used here, yeah. This is the only place where it shows up. But should it show up somewhere else in the game? And should we change this at all? We should make it so hovering over that works. I'll make that change. Game night with my brother and his family tonight, then nothing. We're making lemongrass chicken and having Vietnamese egg rolls on Christmas Eve. Nothing on Christmas Day planned. We've had events every week and weekend since Thanksgiving, so we're spent socially. I hear ya. Hey, Goose. The game night with your brother, what are you playing? I'm guessing it's board games. Because there's this game I mentioned, I think, that I haven't actually played called Flux. See if I can find this. Is it a board game? Yeah, this maybe? Huh, the rating of this is really low. My wife said this is a fun game. It's a game, play cards and alter the rules in this ever-changing card game. Huh, what an interesting website. It makes sense that there'd be like an IMDb for board games. I've just never seen this. Are there comments somewhere or reviews, ratings? Do the ratings have reviews? Yeah, they do. 2-6. I don't know what that means. Interesting idea. Drags on too long for my taste. Lots of fun. So simple. Anyone can play. Oh, you know what? I wonder if that's what's causing this. I wonder if this is like targeted at, oh, even kids could play this, but maybe it's too much for kids to play. I don't know. Not sure. They told us to bring a snack and $1 bills. Probably some silly board game. They're gonna take all your money. Bring 1,000 in unmarked single dollar bills. It's fun. Ignore the haters. Yeah, I think we might eventually try that. I've mentioned this before, but there's a place sort of nearby where you go. It's a restaurant slash like board game library almost, and you can sit at a table and take out any of their board games for free and play them while you're there, and then just return them at the end. And typically order some food or something so that you're actually paying for your stay there. But I guess you don't have to do that. Yes, go ahead, take our money. Well, poker games with friends, I think, are a little different. I think there's an understanding that like you know what you're getting into. But I think if they're saying bring dollar bills and it's a family affair, then it's probably going to be like a friendly thing. Yeah. Also, if $4 changes hands between family members, it's not such a big deal. But yeah, I think if you're playing high stakes games with your friends, that's a problem. Well, it could be a problem. All right, so there were a couple things I wanted to do. We need to make it so that you can hover over the money icon and see the tooltip. Just move the tooltip on parent. And then maybe even export the animated coin into its own scene. Wow. Man, I don't know. I guess the friends are having fun if they're still playing, but it seems like that can go sour pretty quickly. If you're playing with strangers, I feel like it might be easier. I like this new background. Where did this come from? Or was that always there and I'm just noticing it now? Maybe I'm about to see it in the commit. Yeah, so this coin icon, that's what I was asking myself and then never actually finished that thought. Is there a place we can put this? I guess we could show your money here too with the coin icon. Hmm. Maybe just that. What about in the tavern? I just wonder, should we just delete the letter G everywhere and just put a coin? Would it look good without that G? Let's let's do the quickest hacky picture we can do here. I gotta do it in GIMP, I guess. Um, I'm gonna just move this over here. There. And now I guess let's fill in the remaining space. I'm gonna do this really, really quickly. I'm not trying to make this look good. There. Like I said, not important whether this looks good. Okay. So does that look better? Money, a number, and then the coin symbol as opposed to G. Do you need to spell a money because you just use a coin in front? Yeah, actually, that's true. We probably could just do that. Would you put, so which looks better? Coin symbol and then 456 or 456 and then coin symbol? Option 1, option 2. What do people prefer? Because different currencies do different things, right? With US dollars, we put the symbol in front. I think that's unusual though. So maybe option 2. Can we see both side by side? Yeah, sure. I'll do that. Not familiar with the type of puzzle on your first .html for guessing your age. Yeah, sorry, I don't share hints for that. So if you can't figure it out, then you'll just never know. It fled. Because it definitely look better than a meager, yeah, letter G. Option 2. Well, let's see them because it should be pretty easy to do this. We just either, let's delete, let's say 456 here and delete the word money and put the coin not so far away. How is this getting spaced? Oh, there's a separation thing here. All right, so here's option 1. Option 2 would be this. And then let's put this inside of this thing. Okay, and I think I have them the same way, right? Option 1 was a coin symbol first. Yeah. So what do people like better? Because actually now that I see it, I kind of like option 1 better. But I'm not sure. Maybe I should look at other games and maybe that's my American brain saying the option 1 is better. What do other games do? What's a game with gold that I can go look up? God, I'm picturing something specific in my head. Anyway, let's just look at like Diablo 1. Oh no, it was an item that took place in your inventory. What did Diablo 2 do for this? It had the gold button before, but it was like separated a little bit. In building games, they often put the currency first. Yeah, like I said, for whatever reason, this looks right to me, the top one. But yeah, they both look pretty good. Anyway, okay, cool. I think we can go with this. And I think hovering over this will tell you how much money you have. And then we should make that change everywhere. So I'll write this here. Money changes. We're not doing this right now. I want to do this in a sec. And then get rid of money and the word G. This is not such a... I can't necessarily do this because even here we say 50G. We need to show a little animated coin and the coin is pretty big there. Maybe you'd understand that it's gold. Does the coin, I think it says S on it. Yeah, it says S on it because it's Skelecoin. Hmm. Yeah, animated everywhere could be a bit much. I mean, we can just show the little coin icon. I think that's fine. But it's I don't know, however big this is, like 12 by 12 or something. 8 by, wait, no, that's not the size. I don't know how big this sprite is. Where even does this exist? Objects, icons. I don't know. Let's just search for it. There it is. It's in UI. It's 14 by 14. Yeah, which I think for this is going to look a little weird. Maybe we can have a tiny icon for it. I don't know how many pixels this is though. Let's take a look at this. I don't know. It's in the settings somewhere, right? Use points versus use pixels. Where even is that? I don't even see it. Yeah, I don't see it. Huh. All right, well, one thing we can be certain about is just putting this in the GIMP and taking a look there. Yeah, I think it's 15 pixels. Okay, that should work. Okay, I think we'll do that too. Get rid of money and use the word and the word G in the main money label. Show coin symbol and then amount of money. And then anywhere we use the currency symbol, replace it with a static image from coin.png. Yeah, okay. Not gonna make those changes now, like I said. This was just me testing things out. But yeah, I think this looks pretty good. Nice and clean. Let's keep looking through this. This is the menu. This just added in the coin. And then set a minimum size on the buttons here. Oh, minimum heights. Huh. That probably shouldn't be necessary. Carpet bomber. Oh, hey, who cares on YouTube? Merry early Christmas. Enjoy and treat yourself to something good. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Also, is that a Pokemon? It looks like a Machop Ditto combo. How do I open this? Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just making things up. Hey, sound typing. Hi, Merry early Christmas to you too. Who cares? Okay, looks good. This is adding in the shadow again. Looks good. This, I'd like to delete the old code. Yeah, we had temp fireball. We definitely need to get rid of that. It is? Okay. Yeah, there was some like Pokemon combiner a while ago. Oh, we're probably not using bone pile either. We can maybe delete that. Bone pile.png. All right, so fireball can be gone because nothing should be using that, right? Yeah, now it's capitalized fireball. Oh, wait, fire barrage still uses it. Okay, well, that should not be the case. We should change that. Init animated. Actually, you know what I probably should have done is make fire barrage just use fireballs. Then I wouldn't have needed to do anything special, I guess. Plays the same sound. Oh, but then it would play the sound multiple times. I guess we could have done something about that though. Anyway, not a big deal. And there's no concept of burn here. All right, so that's been deleted. I'm happy with that. What else? What else? What else? I see. The should disappear on death thing is gone. So now I guess nothing disappears. Or wait, no, not nothing disappears. I guess everything has a death animation. Is that correct? And what was update rendered texture? Should disappear on death, which is now false, is what I guess we're saying. As disappears when dead. What added this? Everything that wasn't an adventure. Okay, this code needs to be changed. Yeah, this code needs to be changed. I'm just trying to think, is there ever going to be a time we add something to the game and it should disappear? Wait. No. I see what's going on here. I think I want the adventurers to play out their death animation and then just stay there in battle. There's no concept of reviving them right now, at least not mid-battle. But if we click this and speed this up a little bit. So here's what I'm thinking. Let's let one of them die. I'm going to take a picture. Although it's going to look a little weird because there'll be a bunch of text over it probably. All right, there we go. Yeah, so the warrior played out its death animation and then fades away. Actually, I shouldn't spend any time trying to do this, but I'd like to still show them here maybe. Just want to donate via YouTube. Yeah, thank you. Welcome in on Twitch now. Oh, I don't know about this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, a bunch of tabbing got borked here. I should fix that. All right, so I guess everything disappears when it's dead now. Yeah. And there's a disappear function. On disappeared? What is this calling? Calls remove battler. Oh boy. What used to happen for what used to happen here? Should disappear on death. Adventurers wouldn't, so we'd never remove them. Yeah. Interesting. So the merch link in your Twitch bio, I don't really want to advertise that, I guess. If people want that sort of thing, I think I don't mind sharing it, but I don't want to do it preemptively, I think. Is underscore a new coding convention or something, or is there some sort of meaning to it? If I had to take a guess, it's so that the built-in variables don't conflict with instance variables. It's just a convention, yeah. And I think some languages actually will use an underscore to indicate private, and there's no other way to say that. But for C sharp, of course, you have the private visibility modifier for all of this. As for how to make it not conflict, I feel like there's a lot of Java ways of doing something where you have like public constructor and you take in something like int foo and you say this dot foo equals foo. You're not really supposed to use this in C sharp, again, by convention. So instead, the C sharp way of doing things would be something like this. And yeah, that's why they did it, I'm pretty sure. Oh, but yeah, is it new? No, it's not new. Yeah, I think it's been that way for a long time. Okay, so I have a question here, which is, should adventurers stick around in battle? They used to, just in case we ever did add a revive. But the problem is, at the end of a battle, they disappear. Maybe that shouldn't even happen. Okay, here was my thinking, and maybe this doesn't make any sense. But right now, if you look behind this like grayed out panel, you don't see anyone on the left side here. And the reason for that is because these characters are now wandering around town. Like there's the mage. So I was concerned that if you saw them dead in the background, you'd be like, wait a second, do you have multiple mages? But I don't really think that's going to be confusing for players. I think it's going to be pretty clear you have one mage, and yeah, there are just multiple battle windows. And sure, they could show up in multiple battle windows, but not all at the same time. Why is the class property underscored and not the function param? I mean, you could always make whatever conventions you want for your own code base. I think that the whole point of a convention is consistency, and ideally it's consistency across even new code bases. So it's not necessarily worth changing it. But if you have a function like void foo whatever, um, int bar, and you did something like this, had this been the convention from the get-go, I think this would have been fine. I think it would have been a little weird though, having to type out an underscore for your parameter names, but it's a convention, so it's like, I don't think it probably matters too much. I think it's because probably other languages already use this as their convention for member variables. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I think what I want is this. Adventurers play out the death animation, but then stay on the battlefield. And at the end of a battle, we stop removing adventurers. Yeah. Hey, Puka. Didn't come from C. The underscores? It might have. I haven't coded in C in a very long time. Well, I guess technically I have, but not really. Just for my keyboard. All right, adventurers play out the death animation, but then stay on the battlefield. At the end of the battle, we stop removing adventurers. Yeah, I want to see how that looks at least. So I don't like that this stuff is here. I don't think we should be, we should leave commented out code. And I'll just write, I guess, either way. Clean up the commented out code in battler.cs. In what function? On death handle? Are you supposed to be using getters and setters and trying to assign values to a property? Yeah, but there's almost no way for a class to avoid having some private variables, because even with getters and setters, a lot of times what you have to do is have a backing variable. It can't just be, well, I guess it could be getters and setters all the way down, but that would be sort of unnecessary. So I guess to give you an example, what I'm talking about here is imagine something like this. So here we have a property, show highlight on hover, and we have a getter which just returns a variable that's being backed up here. And then we have a special setter that needs to do something when you set this thing. So this is still something with an underscore. We don't technically have to do that, but then we need to mangle a different convention, which is we need to come up with a different name for this that couldn't match, and it would have to be uppercase because it would have to be a property. So anyway, I think you'll still end up needing underscores pretty much no matter what if you're going to type a class somewhere. And you're following conventions. I mean, you could just avoid the conventions and then just never type an underscore. Okay, so as long as I've got this written here, this is just fixing the tabbing of, I guess, several parts of this. In fact, I can see which lines Quickie Joe changed, or maybe which lines Quickie Joe's editor changed. Now, what is this for? What is that for? That's peculiar. Battler.cs, huh? Let's find out. Battle frame, what was it called? Walk sprite sheet. Oh, is that a change he made? Oh, it is. Oh, that's why it's peculiar. Okay. I was gonna say, I was like, I don't remember this being in the code base, but I thought I was comparing it with the old code that we had. All right, so what are we doing here? This would, okay, I see. We have a proper idle animation now, so we don't need to do anything special. And then all of this stuff is new. All right. I think we need to clean this up a little bit. The sprite sheet isn't defined. Treat this as an adventure. Let's see. What sprite sheet are we getting here? Oh, they're all inside idle battlers now. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, so the way that enemies work in the game, imagine something like a bat. We have bat.png, and in it is a row of their idle animation and death animations. So that's every enemy. So we'll do the same thing. I'll just type this out here, but imagine something like whatever, a zombie. You have zombie.png and then idle and death animation. The way that adventurers are, there is a town variant, which has their like walk down animation, walk up animation, walk right, and walk left. And then we have the battle animation now, which is just a combined sprite sheet. Excuse me. I think we should have each adventurer in its own sprite sheet and then just use the exact same code we probably had. Because that's what we're doing here, right? I think that is what we're doing here. Yeah, I think we should probably split this up. Yeah. Now this is interesting. There's a shadow here. Oh God. Hmm. We only add the shadow for enemies because the enemies don't have it baked in. In fact, I didn't even notice this. But all of these enemies should have a shadow now. I think they do have one. Yeah, they do. It'd probably be a little bit more obvious in the forest. Click the forest. Yeah, look at that. There's a little shadow under there. Interesting. So where is this shadow coming from? Is it added here too? Is it inside the idle frames? Ooh, this is... Hang on a second. This is only if the height is 80. I gotta look into what this is doing. I think there's a lot of stuff that's not super clear to me here. Monsters. Does this tell you the height? 64 by 40. So 80 means it's a boss. So then the shadow is added into the battler itself, I think. Yeah, it must be. Yeah, there it is. Shadow. Okay, so then we're adding it specifically for bosses. I think this might look a little strange. Let's take a look. Yeah, I think this is a little bit strange. We just need to reposition the shadow that's already there. Yeah, the next checkpoint is going to be, I think, really big. Big in terms of impact. Also, it is technically the fifth one. Oh, this hides the shadow. Okay, I think what we need to do is add the shadow, but have it be larger. What's the game engine you're using? I'm using Godot. And welcome in, Chedley. Lost track of that. Oh yeah, that's fine. I don't expect people to keep track of it. Okay, this needs to be changed. I do want to merge these things, and I think in order to merge them, I think what I need to do is put all the adventurers into their own sprite sheet. Where is character? Idle battlers. Oh, does it make sense to separate adventurers and battle stuff? I think so. And I think having a separate battle sheet would be good too. Although it's not really necessary. Yeah, it's not really necessary. And why was I doing that? Just so that we could pull these from the right spots? All right, well, we will have to merge this. I'll have to make this change. For bosses, instead of hiding their shadows in battler.cs, just expand it and move it down. Do we do frame width and frame height times 2. We don't do anything else that's special here. I was gonna say if we just scaled them up, then we could just put the shadow as a child of the sprite. But we don't do that. But the sprite is centered, so it still looks okay. Yeah, I think we just need to bump it down and scale it up. And then this code, I want to consolidate. Get character battle frame probably isn't needed anymore either. Yeah, it isn't. Delete that. And then consolidate battler.cs, set up animation frames. So that adventurers and enemies mostly use the same code. Also, the 80 pixel check line should be moved to a Boolean like is boss. Okay, what else? Close button uses a different font. That's fine. Controls, different font. Handwritten is the font. Okay, yeah. So other than these changes that I wrote down, I think this is looking pretty good. And most of what I'm seeing is just a code quality thing that I'd like to address. But yeah, the shadows in town, that's new. The shadows in battle are new. The idle animations in battle. I mean, as soon as where's the cleric? Yeah, there they are. As soon as they walk into the portal there. The idle animations, I just think add so much. I wasn't even expecting death animations on this too, but we've got those now. Although it won't show up in a one-on-one battle. This will just disappear as soon as it dies. But that's another problem we've got to fix. So yeah, I've got my work cut out for me a little bit. But in general, I think this is pretty good. So here we're going to say remove unused, remove temporary fireball asset. It is now unused since we have an animated fireball. And then this is just change the formatting. I haven't actually done anything else here, but I need to do that. And then this should disappear on death stuff. That commented out code should be removed. Yeah, I wrote that down. Okay, so just fix formatting of battler.cs. Oh, wait a second. Any other CS files that changed, I would need to do the same thing, right? I didn't think about that. Fireball.cs, I already just did change. Oh, and that's it. There were just 2 files. Okay. So fix formatting of battler.cs. There's some code that I want to clean up here, but I'll do it in separate commits. Can I use the, oh nice, you can. I can transpose characters here. This is a shortcut that sometimes comes in handy. So a lot of times you type a word and you, well, it auto-fixed it for me. Let's do that one. Okay, so here I've tried typing commit, right, and I mess up the C and the O. If I have the cursor between the two and I hit the transpose character key, then it swaps them. So you can type something like totally wrong, like Timok, and eventually get the characters to the positions just using the transpose feature. This would be really tedious, but it works. There. Anyway, most of the time, if you make a typo, there's like a small amount of transpositions you need to make to fix it. If even you can transpose it to fix it. I mean, maybe I typed like Zummit or something instead of commit, and then you can't. All right, let's churn through some of these. I want to make sure to take breaks on time. So in about 5 minutes. So we'll look at this stuff. So Skeleseller hand regular. Where might you exist? Here and here. Can I see this in here? I don't understand how this works exactly. I don't want to install this. I just want to see where are the skulls. And they might not even be in here. They might be in the other font. They're in the geographic range, which I don't know. I don't know how to see that. But I don't think it's in this one. So that was Skeleseller hand regular. This is the main one. Is it in here maybe? No. I'm a little confused. Give me a sec. Hang on. Let me read what Quickie Joe said. Skeleseller main, 11 different skulls in the geographic shapes range of the font. So I'm in, wait, Roboto. Oh, what? Hold on a second. I clicked this. Oh man, I just happened to open that up. Also, validation report. What's this? Name table structure. I think I need to install this in order to see. All right, let's install it. Now where to go? Ah, look at that. We've got skull glyphs. That's super cool. Which one do we use? Yeah, this is awesome. I don't know, but I think I liked one of the ones that's sort of facing left, like that as the skull icon. So to be clear, this would go into this screen. Instead of seeing canyon and a diamond, you'd see this skull. So let's go take a look at what that thing is, and let's try using it. Oh, I don't even know how to type this. Can I like copy the glyph? I can. White right pointing pointer. Interesting. Do you prefer fill or outline for the icon? That's a question. I'm not sure. We don't actually have a filled version of this one. We only have two filled versions, and they're these. Oh, black diamond. Oh, that should just automatically show up then, right? Why didn't it? Huh. Maybe it's a different diamond. All right, what is that thing called? It's called battle panel, I think. Yeah. And now what is that? There we go. It is the selected instance label. And what font does this use? Probably comes from the theme font. Probably does come from the theme. Theme is empty here. So then it must be the battle panel that sets the theme. No, it's empty here too. Something needs to set this. I don't think anything does. Yeah, I don't think anything does. Huh, strange. Yeah, if nothing sets this, then it could have been inherited from even a parent of this. And it could just be that I need to set it. Yeah, I still don't see a theme in here. Okay, well, let's just try changing this. Font, normal font, quick load, Skeleseller main. Ooh, the glyph is broken. The A has a dot in it. Is that broken even up here? Lowercase a, here it is. That's gonna be a problem. It probably renders that way in the game too. Well, anyway, whatever. Let's look at that in a second. But if we copy one of these skulls, it should render properly now, right? I'm gonna paste this in. Oh, weird. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. All right, paste this here. Nice, we do see the skull. Nifty. All right, let's try looking at it in the game. I don't see that missing dot in the A, but I bet if we like super zoomed in on this, it would show up. So let's try that out really fast. Let's set the scale of this to be huge, like 3x scale, and then just move the whole thing. And we should be able to see it now. Yeah, there's a dot there. Oh man. There you go. How's it going? All right, I gotta write this down. I don't know what's causing that. It we only ever saw this before when it came to bold fonts, but I don't think any of this is in bold, is it? No, just font size is changing. Oh, that's too bad. All right, well, let's take a picture of the word cat there, and I'll share this. Actually, I'll just type this on Discord right now. That way I don't forget. I had some follow-up questions. Do you know how to fix this missing pixel in the A glyph? It only shows at large sizes. Doesn't seem to be a rendering problem. Try moving the A and adding it back in. Does that remove the dot? I think it's the font itself, although it's hard to say. There's a way that... What's this A? There's something about the glyph construction here with the underlying vectors that Godot doesn't like. And it doesn't seem like it's a problem here. Can I zoom in even more? Oh, you can. Nice. Yeah, the A doesn't have it here. Godot is doing something here. And yeah, like I said, I don't think it has to do with this, because if I just type a bunch of A's down here, they all have it. All right, well, there was a bug about this. We type font, bold, maybe just that. There's something about Google fonts with this. Font, custom editor, font artifacts. That's not the same thing exactly. Leaves holes in tilt fonts. Self intersections in the font, which is a bug. Wild. Yeah, wild. Okay, I think it's this. Do you want to fix this missing pixel? Only shows large sizes. From some searching through Godot, it seems to be a problem with self intersections. Okay, so that's one thing I gotta ask about. The other thing I want to ask about, do we plan to use card over? And then are both fonts totally custom? Skeleseller hand and Skeleseller main, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so these things have all been asked now. All right, so where we left off is using the skull in the font. And I still got to do that. But I'm going to take a break. Yeah, what time is it? 9:50. So we take a break now. By the way, I should make sure when mentoring is. I'm pretty sure it's at 11. Why isn't this loading? Load. What? Huh, that's strange. Am I online still? I should be. I just loaded this earlier. I'm not sure why it's not loading now. I don't think I've ever seen Google Docs be offline. Test. Yeah, okay, that's working. Yeah, here we go. 11 a.m. Yeah, okay, good. So I have some time. So another hour for now. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, we're going to keep working on the skull thing and then just work our way through this list. I think it should be a pretty smooth morning. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hey again, close the game. Thanks for playing. I said close the game. There we go. All right, so skulls. Let's add it in. I lost the skulls. There they are. Yeah, I think I wanted this one. Let's see what it looks like. I don't think it's as clear as maybe one of the front-facing ones. Like maybe this one might be a little better. Ooh, that's broken. Man, this is the problem with rendering fonts in Godot. It doesn't render the same way it renders outside of Godot. Does this one look good? I think this is the opposite of that one I just showed, right? I think they're getting cut off in some way. It's really hard to tell. Does this one work? Yeah, that works. Okay, let's use that. So it's got to be that specific character. So somewhere there's, oh, nice. It's already showing. Oh, in fact, it should just work now. Yeah. Let's go try it out. I think that's probably why he did this. So I just relaunched this, but without saving this file. Oh, wait, no, we need to save that file. Oh my God, what am I doing? Because we need to set the labels font. Oh, that is being set. Huh, okay. Also seeing a lot of errors in the debugger. Gotta figure out what's going on there. There we go. Yeah, so this is showing up with a skull now. We should probably make the skull a little bit bigger. Oh, that's something I've never seen before. When the battle is won, and you have something else selected here, it selects the forest at the end of it. It changed this. If I click start next battle, what happens? Huh. That is quite bizarre. Yeah, that's a little bug. If you, oh, I guess let's just write down the repro. Start a battle in the forest. Click the portal while the battle is running. Select another location. Wait for the battle to end. At this point, what's that thing called? Selected instance label will show the forest, even though you hadn't ever selected it. Got to figure out why that's happening. But that's not super important. What is important is that we use this skull icon everywhere, which means we need to change even our tooltips. I wonder why we didn't just use this theme for this entire dialogue. What would happen if we did use it? Let's take a picture here. All right, so now we go to battle panel and set a theme of base theme, I guess. And then don't set one for this thing. No, we got to find a theme that uses Skeleseller main, which is dialogue theme. Yeah, dialogue theme, I guess. It slightly changed some things. How did it slightly change some things? Because I saw things get bumped down. The fonts changed. Oh, those colors changed too, huh? Yeah, now they're not really legible. All right, well, all I really want to do is just override the font on a lot of these things. Although we need the tooltip font to be the same everywhere. So if I produce a bunch of items, yeah. Oh man. Well, we could. Oh, man. Yeah, there are a couple things we could do. So we can't just change the theme on this. And we could make a theme that sets the font, but it'd have to set it for everything underneath this. We could change the tooltip font. I leave for 10 minutes. What's going on? Oh, the chat spam? That's from Jump Royale. Hmm. Yeah, I'll need to put some thought into this. There is another way we could potentially do this, and that's to just have the skull icon be separate from everything else. I think that would be tedious to do though, because these are just labels. Or I guess we could modify the other font and put a skull label in. So where do those things pop up? Do we have a tooltip here? We do. And does this have a theme? It does have tooltip theme. So the tooltip theme itself needs a different font. Yeah. No, it's already using Skeleseller. What? What is going on then? I'm so confused. Maybe it's using the wrong glyph. I don't know how that's even possible though. Because this is what we use everywhere. Get instance info string. It's not what we use everywhere. We use this diamond specific. Something's wrong. We have a diamond somewhere else in the code base. Where? Canyon. Level 2 party of 2. Level party of. It's only here. And it uses the symbol from right there. So then it's got to be the wrong font. It's definitely the wrong font. I don't understand how that's possible though when the tooltip uses this theme and this theme has that font. Maybe because the label itself has it overridden? It doesn't. Maybe because this has a different theme? No. Also no. I'm so confused. Oh man. Yeah, I don't get it. Skeleseller main out. Yeah, yeah. And Skeleseller main is the one that has the skulls in it. What is happening then? All right, let's just copy this and type it directly into the code. Yeah. Now let's try launching that. I'm guessing it's going to render as a bunch of diamonds, and I don't get it. Yeah, it is rendering as a bunch of diamonds. What? Why? We don't set the font anywhere. We just set the font size. Huh. Yeah, huh. I don't know. Maybe maybe the dialogue theme has the tooltip theme in it. Dialogue theme. It doesn't define that, but it does define rich text label. And it's normal. No, it's normal font is correct. What is happening? They're all using this. What is this font? Roboto. Wait a second. In stone panel theme. So something is overriding this? Stone panel theme. Okay, what uses that? Stone panel theme. The battle panel. Oh god. Why did I not see it? Alright, I can't find it through here. What's using this? VBox container is using this. Where is there a VBox container? This? That's totally different from the tooltip though. Huh. I I truly can't figure this out. Yeah. Stone dialogue, what was it called? Stone panel. Hmm. Maybe there's another font to find here? No. I don't know. No font is to find here either. It's just a theme. And the only other thing is a tooltip on parent, which is different. Man, I don't get it. I wonder if there's some other way to figure this out though. Because really all that's happening here is we're seeing this font. And I don't know why we're seeing that font. It should be using the one that we had to find in the tooltip. Unless no, it's not overridden or anything. It's just directly there. So confused. All right, let's override this for a sec and let's just set this to this one. Does that fix this in the game? It does, yeah. I don't get it. I don't get why that's needed. And now I beat once to reveal rewards is in a different font altogether. Maybe because it's in italics. Beat once to reveal. It just has a color and italics here. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure. So we have to override it with this, even though this is coming from a theme and it has the font set right there. Oh, maybe the theme doesn't define the font for rich text labels? I don't know how that'd be possible though. It just has a font here. Oh my God, yeah, that is what's going on. Oh my God. Oh, it's so bad. Okay, got it. Got it. I should have thought of that. This theme editor thing is a little weird. You have to pick which widget is there, and I'm probably blocking this, but yeah, I didn't have rich text label selected. Okay, so then let's close this. Don't save. Open up the theme again. So we need to set all of them to use this as the font, and we only have so many of these that we can use. Mono font. Yeah, so this needs to be Skeleseller main if we're going to have skulls working in there. And I guess the same thing for something else that we have. I'm not sure. Let's take a look. I think this font is slightly less legible than something like Roboto, but I'm probably just used to it. Let's see now. Yeah, so now when you hover over here, you see the skull. The ogre dwells here. Ogre doesn't have any special abilities. He's just really strong. Hmm. Then we need to change the font on that too, though. But that means every tooltip is going to change in the entire game. Hey, Fritz. Thanks for the raid. Welcome in. Hi, everybody. How's it going? You doing a lot of streaming this week for the holidays? We are merging in a few changes to Skeleseller right now that are mostly aesthetic. So there's this cool font that we have. It's a custom font and it has some skull glyphs in it that Quickie Joe made. And I wanted to add these to the dialogue, but in order to do that, we need to use this font. So I'm just making sure this is getting used everywhere. But yeah, welcome in. Like I said, hope the stream is good. Let me know if anyone has any questions. Today's going to be kind of a chill day. We're doing some coding, well, coding in quotes, I guess. A lot of this is just sort of general cleanup of stuff. But then in 53 minutes, it's going to be mentoring. And I'd say it's kind of like career mentoring. It's the final session in a 9-session series I've been doing that started a year ago. And all the videos are on YouTube. All of this has been just free content. I'm not charging the mentees for anything either. But if you are interested in that, stick around for another, I guess, hour or so, and then it's going to start. We need to change this as well. And I don't think any theme controls this. Although it could. I guess the dialogue theme could even control that. Where do we use that dialogue theme? Does Battle Panel not use a theme? It doesn't use one for the root. All right, does base theme define something for this? No, it doesn't. All right, I'm gonna just manually set this for now then. Yeah, I'm gonna manually set this. All right, let's set the normal font to this. And now everything should look good. Yeah, so now we see canyon and little skull symbol. Doesn't something explain what that symbol means? I guess not. I guess just the skull should be enough to indicate it, right? Yeah. I'd like for that skull to be a little larger. Unfortunately, the only way to make it a little larger is with a BB code thing, which is not a huge problem. So we put the elite symbol inside of its own font size and bump that to like 28. Does that work? It does work. Does that look better? Do people like that? I think it's a little clearer now. It's like the size of a capital C. If we like really zoom in on this and then just, I guess, draw a line. Yeah, in fact, it's maybe a touch larger than the capital C, such that maybe we should lower this like 27. Really scientific stuff here. All right, let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I think it's probably good. How do I delete that? There we go. I want to draw it lower. Yeah, I think it's good. No, it's exactly the same size. And I mean, I guess the other thing we could have done here is like drag the skull onto the C to see how big it is right next to each other, but that doesn't really matter. All right, cool. So we got the skull icons in here. Hey, Millenite, how you doing? Cool. Yeah, so that's that change. I want to barrel through a bunch of these other ones too. What did I do here? The UID changed. Oh. Okay, fine. Yeah. Use new skull glyph. This only involved changing a theme to use the Skeleseller main font, which has the skull glyphs. I also bumped up the font size so that the skull is more visible. The reason so many files changed is just due to UIDs. Fun stuff. Am I the only one who's seeing the time spent live as, oh, like a giant negative number? I don't know if that's showing. Kerning between the A and the N is broken. In this, yeah. I think it's how good, well, I think part of it is how Godot is rendering the font. I wonder how we could use this and see if it's rendering poorly in other applications. Let's try it here. If we change from hack to Skeleseller main. Oh, these have to be single quotes. No, what? What am I messing up here? Oh, I see. I see. I had to do it like that. Okay, yeah. So now I type canyon, and then we super zoom in on that. Yeah, I think the kerning could be a little bit better. Possibly it's just that A glyph to begin with. Oh, well, I definitely don't want to code in this font. Yeah. Is the kerning final? Someone commented on the kerning between the A and N in the word canyon. Similarly, taking the attached picture, yeah. Okay, sorry, I just needed to send that message because I had the person who made this is Quickie Joe, who's been working on Skeleseller for a while as well, and I wanted to give some feedback on that font. So use the skulls. We are done with that. Get rid of the old fireball graphic. We're done with that. Adventurer, customer, and worker should all inherit from the town entity scene. They don't do this already, do they? Adventurer does not. What else did I say? Customer and worker. So what are all of these things? They are a shadow, a character body. Are they all character bodies? Yes. Character body, character body, character body. Yeah, they all are. And the shadow and the sprite and a collision shape. And then the worker happens to have hands. There are those hands. Now, what's a collision shape? The collision shape is just a dot for all of these. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's make a root scene for all this. I think this should work fine. By the way, Emilina, if you refresh the page, you still see the time spent showing that way. Let me load my own stream and see what it shows up as for me. 131. No, it looks normal to me. Bizarre. Okay. Delete bone pile. Is that being used? I know I said I was going to make common scenes, and I still should. This is still kind of being used, but it probably shouldn't be. Yeah, I think we need to delete all that. Because I was messing around with my Linux datetime? Oh, I see. Yeah, they probably only send when the stream started, and then your client figures out the offset. I wonder how many people self-host. This is very vaguely related, but I read some Docker stuff, and I was thinking about there are these like Google alternatives, and I don't know, like picture all the services you tend to use from other sites like calendar, photos, storage, but probably a bunch of other things like docs. And you can self-host a lot of these things. There are lots of other third-party services, and they try to make them really simple. So they just give you a Docker image, and you go run it, and then you point whatever your family and friends at it, I guess. And they typically have some auth thing built into. I wonder how many people use that stuff, because I have a mini PC and I'm running some things on it, and I could run this sort of thing, but I don't really have a problem with using the Google equivalents of all these things. I get that they could shut my account down at any point. Then again, if you're self-hosting your own thing, you need to handle backups yourself. So you're probably just using a cloud service anyway, because unless you have, multiple locations with computers in them, then you're going to be susceptible to the same sorts of emergencies, like fires and whatever. Never really used it. Know some people who did it though. Yeah, I think it would be like, I think you'd be paying less over time if you needed, let's say, like 2 terabytes of storage or something. And I don't even think it takes that long for it to be less. Like if you look up, I don't know, iCloud storage plans, I don't think they're expensive. iCloud plans and pricing. Oh, this is super weird. Where's this is like the weirdest pricing thing I've ever seen, and it's on Apple's site. Like iCloud plans and pricing. It's just a gigantic list. I would expect a table or for them to detect your locale or whatever. All right, well, anyway, where is the US? Here. This is what, per month, I'm guessing? So 200 gigabytes is $3 per month. So 36 per year. Yeah, I think then if all you were using is for storage, it probably after like maybe 5 to 6 years it'd pay for itself. And that's assuming you only wanted 200 gigabytes. All right, so making a common scene for this, it's going to be town entity. Where does it exist right now? In town. Okay, I mean, that's pretty reasonable. So I guess let's save this as town entity. The thing is, I want this to be any entity. This is specifically one that walks around. Maybe we call it like walking entity. And why does everyone have collision? Because everyone needs the pathfinding, yeah. Here's I know I'm really belaboring the naming of this, but the problem that I have is that we have a proper entity component system, and there the word entity just means pretty much anything. It could be a fireball, it could be a character, it could be anything. It could be a whatever, a monster or something like that. Here it's just something that walks. And in that sense, it still is an entity. I just don't want to be confusing. Mobile entity. I think mobile in just a file name would probably indicate to you that it's like a mobile device specific thing. And this might eventually be on mobile. So I think that could be confusing. But maybe just town, like person. Yeah, person.tscn. Oh, but I guess we already have NPC. An NPC is what? A stationary person? An animated sprite, outlines and stuff. Yeah, I think just walking entity. Prefer owning my own stuff. That's kind of why I went the route I did with streaming. Can add more storage if I really want it without getting screwed over in the long run. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think the only real concern in that case is assuming you have the know-how, just backing things up properly. And even then, it's based on what you're comfortable with. Maybe you are okay having just 3 separate drives in the same location. Because really, how often does it happen that there's a probably shouldn't ask this. Yeah, how often does it happen that there's a killer emergency like an earthquake or a fire or something, and you either can't get back to your hard drives because maybe your whole apartment complex is in rubble or something like that, or it got burned or something. It can't be that common, but the whole point of a backup is if it did happen, you wouldn't want to lose everything. And then there's so much physical damage that it's like you wouldn't want there to also be digital damage. I think walking entity is fine. So let's save it as that. Walking entity. By the way, I need to be very careful on my timing of this. It's currently 10:20, and I'm starting mentoring at 11. And it typically takes about 10 minutes to prepare. And I want to take a 5-minute break. So we have 25 minutes left. But I think there's enough time to get this thing working and maybe do a couple other things on the list. So this is going to be walking entity. I think we'll need a script. Is there anything in common between these actually? Let's pull up adventurer again. Close out of that, close out of this. So what does customer have? Bunch of custom stuff. Also, what is going on with the syntax highlighting here? Man, does everything have to break on me? Does this fix it? Is this a problem with the theme, I wonder? Oh, looks like it's getting fixed. Should turn yellow, I'm pretty sure. Oh, there we go. Yeah, looks like it's fixed. All right, so anything specific in here? We probably had an init with a ready, yeah, or an init with a town, I mean. I don't think there's anything super common here. I guess we could pass in the entity type as well. That's probably it. And in fact, that's enough reason to make a custom script for this too. Is there an init here? There isn't. There's a create worker. And that adds these things. There's no reason that couldn't be an init though. Because we have the town, we have an entity type. I think it's reasonable. What about here? Nav speed, we could pass that in too. Okay. It's reasonable. This is done in init, and this is done in ready. Okay, and then the final one of these is adventurer. What happens here? Same basic idea. Okay. Yeah, this will take a little bit of time to get working correctly. Well, it has 4 legs but cannot run a table, a chair table hybrid, but each one only has 2 legs. Each half. Never mind. All right, let's save a script here. Walking entity. This is in scene script. So detach that, add in a new one. Oh, it already had it typed out for me. Can I just click this button? I should just be clicking that button. So much easier. All right, cool. Bed would also work, or nightstand. Yeah, bed is just a comfy table. There are uncomfortable and comfortable tables. Bed fits in the comfortable category. All right, so now all these things need to inherit from walking entity. Needs to be in the right namespace. This is true of worker and of, what's the last one? What am I missing? Customer. It's open already. I don't even need to think that hard about it. All right, let's close out of those things. Good. And reload customer. Cool. So next, we need there to be the right scene structure over here. And I forgot how you're supposed to do this. I want the shadow to be inside walking entity and not in here. I think we might need to make new, what is this, animated sprite? Animated sprite. Animated sprite. I think we need to make a new scene so we can inherit from it properly, which I don't like doing this. Yeah, I really don't like doing this. All right, so we go find walking entity. And now we name this customer and give it the customer script. Oh man. All right, and then we would need to set up the sprite correctly, but then we need to save over customer for this. This has a sprite here, but I don't really think this matters. Yeah, I don't think this matters. I don't think any of this matters. I think we just override customer.tscn. All right, let's go try it. And then we can get customers working, then we're pretty good here. So this has the right script, it inherits from the right thing. There's no reason for this to exist yet, but we're going to set this up slowly and surely. So the next one is adventurer. That one's also pretty easy to do. It's the worker that is slightly harder. I clicked the wrong thing. There. All right, now we call this adventurer. And we override that. Save this as adventurer, which you can't do if you already have it open. Cool. And the final one is worker. And worker needs to add in the hand sprite. So maybe what we do is we save this as worker backup and then make a new one, instantiate the walking entity, give it the worker script, call it worker, and then put in the hand sprite underneath the worker sprite. Oh, this is called adventure sprite. Oh God. All right, this is called sprite. This should be called shadow. All right, please tell me that changed it for everything. It did. So now underneath this, we put in the hand sprite. Nice. Now we save this as worker and delete worker backup. Okay, good. So that's all the scene changes. Now we need the script changes. Actually, if we just run, oops, launch VLC, and VLC has a little Santa hat on it now. What a nice icon. All right, everything should look exactly the same. It should still work. Oh, I need to look at what the debugger errors were from the other time that I was running this. Yeah, there's like a million errors now. All right, all right. What's going wrong? It's not called worker sprite anymore. Yeah, it's just called sprite. And it might not even be accessed with a unique name anymore. So let's make it unique, which might break the worker. It didn't. Good, good, good. All right, so let's just search for the word sprite here. I guess ready is what's going to do this for everything, right? Yeah. So this is going to be %sprite. Same thing here. Oh, we never get it here? Just for worker? So worker sprite and then hands sprite. Let's do access as unique name and do one of those. There we have it. And then launching this will hopefully be error-free. We still haven't actually really done anything smart yet. But we will. We will. So is everything looking good here? Grant most things, add a bunch of customers, add a bunch of workers. All right, the workers are using the wrong graphic. It's so weird not seeing skeletons. What is this, purple hair seller? Man, those shadows look good. Yeah. Well, I deleted worker backup. Oh my God. All right, we need all those animations. There. Ah, man. All right, how do we revive this? Worker.cs. Or no, not that. Worker.tscn. Here it is. We need everything back. Oh boy. Oh boy. I just want all the animations back in. All right, here's what we're going to do. This is maybe not the best way of doing this, but scenes, town, and then worker. We're going to go into here. We're going to rename this as worker 2 and then revive worker 1. And then go into here, discard local changes, and take all of the animations. I'm not, can we copy animations? You can't? Drat. Hey, Godzilla. There we go. All right, well, that's too bad. So then I got to revive these the bad way. Oh, man. Yeah, I think this will be a little bit tough. Can I rename this? I guess I can if I do that. Something went terribly wrong. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, indeed. Okay, no, it's working. I just didn't detect that there was a change, presumably because I only put a new file on top of it. All right. Well, maybe we can just paste all this stuff in. Who knows? It is just that. Because otherwise, I don't know. Let's try something here. What happens if we delete all these animations? We can't delete them? Could we make this editable? We can't. Do I need to make this unique? And now I can delete them. Okay. I see. Okay, so now it has no animations. And now this diff should look, yeah, very different. So this uses a different sprite frame. So all we need is the sprite frames from before. Please tell me this had a sprite frames. Yes. And I had a bunch of textures in here too. I guess those were used by the frames. Yeah, okay, so I think we need all of this stuff. We'll copy paste it all. Rectangle shape, that was for the collision. All right, and now we have a custom sprite frames here, V46P0. We gotta be very careful about this. V46P0. All right, so we take this out of here. Sprite frames animation. How did this get the right? I have no idea. Okay, hopefully that worked. This is, oh no, error parsing. What I mess up? Shrink this so I can actually see. Worker uses a sprite frames. The sprite frames are oh no, they're wrong. Oh, I see. Okay, got it. I was looking at the wrong thing. That will hopefully work. Please don't tell me there's still an error parsing. No, what did I mess up? We're referencing something that doesn't exist is my guess, but maybe that's not even true. Right, sprite frame. Maybe this is what's wrong? Facing down. That could be it. Error parsing. Oh my god. 10 minutes to figure this out. Yeah. Oh, what is the issue? Is it that there's an extra space here? If that's it, that's... No, it's not that. I don't know. Maybe it's trying to access the wrong Atlas texture. That is entirely possible. 3D Extended, happy 4 years. 4 years. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. A long time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure this out right now. Oh, wait, load steps. We got to change this probably. Maybe this is like 28 or something. I am just kind of guessing. I also don't know if this is even what would cause this. I'm going to change this to a bunch of different numbers, and we're going to see if any of those numbers work. I don't think this would cause an error, but it's possible. No, I don't think it's this. I don't think we added anything anyway. Yeah. I don't know what number that should be. So what else could be going wrong here? We're now referencing the walking entity scene. Maybe it would help to look at how adventurer.tscn changed. It deleted everything. It has a script still. This should also have a script, right? It doesn't? No, it has a script there. How many opening brackets are there? 41? So then shouldn't this be the number 40? Is that what it takes to fix this? No. What am I doing? We didn't add a whole bunch. Yeah. I'm not sure. Be nice if it told me what the parse error is. I wonder if there's a way to get that information. Oh, can't load cached X resource. Oh, nice. It is telling me. Oh, thank goodness. I don't need to keep searching for this. So this doesn't exist, but it used to. It's there in the texture. Okay, no wonder. Main worker. All right, I'm going to put this here. And that should fix everything. Yes. Ooh, okay. So can we launch this? Um, hang on one second. Hey, Priyanka. Hang on one sec. Okay. Um, let's see. Happy holidays, even though you're gone. I gotta take a break pretty soon. Let's see here. So, yeah, I think this is working. I think we gotta clean this up afterward, though. Let me write this down. We need to move ready and init over there. Move ready and init. Okay. Yeah, I want to prep for mentoring. That's why. I don't want to start working on this and then have to cut myself off. Do you iron your shirts or dry clean? I iron my shirts. It takes me forever. Apparently, a really good tip is to not fully dry your clothes, but that requires me spending extra time figuring out how long they should be dried for and then getting them and hanging them up. And so I just don't do that. I spend forever ironing. Spend time to save time. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna take a break. I'll be right back. And then we're gonna switch into mentoring, so it's gonna be some prep for that. Is it jump time? It's jump time. All right, close the game. Let's get into mentoring mode. Last time for this year, Freak Technic, welcome back. Thanks for the 35 months. And happy holidays. We're about to do the last mentoring session probably of the year. I don't have any other ones planned, but I was potentially going to reach out to someone and ask if they wanted a one-off session. But I don't know for sure if that's going to happen. Anyway, let's load up the mentoring prep thing. For those who've never seen this, it's kind of hard to get everyone on the same page. A lot of the mentoring is over the last year and not like it's just, oh, well, here's what happened in the last week and then you're caught up. So it's hard to give all the context for this. So I'm going to look through all my notes that I had and we're gonna, I forgot what I even wrote here. What did I write? Oh, it's also super tiny. Oh, I think he asked me to prepare some things for him, and I think I did. All right, so let's click this and this. I'm trying not to read any of what Peter wrote because I don't like to be biased by anything that's there. It's mostly just what do I think we need to have in our conversation today. Okay. Yeah, so I haven't read any of Peter's stuff. We're gonna bump this down to here. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna catch up on what we talked about last time. Last session was on October 30th, so it's been almost 2 months. Let's see, on a scale of 1 to 10 of how much to talk about, it's an 11. He said he'll be jumping around a lot. Have you been? Good. Feels quite burned out. Taking this week and next week off to catch up on personal stuff and relax. Quite a rough patch. Okay, so how are things looking after vacation? Has it been slower this time of year? In Germany, get 30 days of PTO, plan 2 weeks of vacation. There's a house project started, you consider shifting those weeks into next year. By the way, 3D Extended, if you're here, I'm curious if you're able to start like 5-ish minutes early. I timed this sort of poorly. And if you're not here, that's totally fine. I'll send this as a Discord message. Would you be able to start? Oh, yeah, cool. Okay, yeah. And it all depends on how long it takes me to read through this, but usually it's about 10 minutes from now, so. All right, putting against the limits of what you do, cannot operate at maximum capacity for extended periods of time. More aware of it now. I struggle with the same thing. Things getting better. Cool. Yeah. All right. Feel like I've been burnt out or quite a few months. Yeah. You'd mentioned burnout. Feel like I'm not introducing as much stress in my life as I previously did. Starting to reflect over the things I start out to do. Talking to my girlfriend a lot more about these topics. Reflection helps. I feel like most stress is coming through work. Yeah. Okay, several of Peter's colleagues also got promoted to managers. No team spirit amongst the managers. Working toward building it. Setting expectations around roles for managers. Anyone above you with these meetings? Yes. Interesting. Yeah. How's the team spirit stuff going? With setting managerial expectations. All right, career. Being selective on meetings. I focus on the impact a meeting has and if my presence is important. Having 24 hours in a day is too few. 8 hours is too small for work time. A change as the number of important meetings has increased. I feel like I'm productive in those meetings, but I neglect some of the tasks which are part of my job. Yeah. I think this is tough. I think, by the way, in general, corporations are like machines that are just willing to chew any resource that comes in and spit out whatever they can. And it doesn't matter what those, what sort of cost there is for those resources, because there's the machine is always hungry. All right, high-level solutions: do less to shift who does the work or to hire more people. This is something I want to write down in my bridge note that I have. Said this in a mentoring session with Peter, but I think it's going to come up a lot with other people too. If there's too much work to do, the solutions are do less, shift who does the work, or hire more people. Yeah. Okay. Don't neglect answering reports, contact. If they don't reach out, you don't either yet. I think it's fine. Doesn't have enough time to make this work. After it's clear to them. Is an open meeting. Oh yeah, I am curious about the follow-up for this. You mentioned that you have an open meeting for your direct reports, but that people don't really use it. They know they can reach out to them. Okay. No, I think it's fine. I don't want to follow up on this. What's going to happen about the issues that you know about which require your attention? Things that get eventually fixed by another manager or direct report. What would you want if you're one of those direct reports? Actually, if you could maybe take a smaller amount of time to guide them in the right direction. I see. Yeah. So there were some concerns from direct reports that would take you, that I guess would have taken you weeks to look into. And you said that you didn't have the time. Have you talked to the reports, I guess your reports, about not having the time? I had suggested that when all else fails, communication is quick and easy. All right. There's a relatively strict management route. Our upper management is taken. 3 layers of CEO, CEO, sub-CEO, big CEO, all of them with the CEO title. Oh, I remember this. There are like 20 companies, and this company can't hire more, even though they're doing really well. Some of the sibling companies are struggling. Sub-CEO has changed hiring policies. Peter's company is doing great. My direct company is part of a big corporation. The CEO, there are about 20 other companies. Yep. Hence, sub-CEO has released a bunch of new policies that are negatively affecting everybody. Sub-CEO is doing the best they can. Happens once in a while. Something I had to deal with. Find it very frustrating. Yeah. Yeah. All right. We're probably almost about halfway through this. I'm at the 11:25 mark, and we usually start at about 11, so there's another half hour after this, I think. Assuming you couldn't do anything about these frustrations, what would be the impact? They know that some people are leaving the next few years. Clock is ticking. Yeah. Tell people that they can only do the highest priority work. Yep. The publicly traded company. Here's where they're being held back. Yep. You know what you can. Yep. This is sound advice from Adam over here. I really agree with what this Adam fellow is saying. Meantime, people who have to transfer knowledge. Yeah. Okay. Just gonna quickly skim through this stuff if I can. Right. Talking to the architects. This is a big question I had. Architects and Angular versus, what were they using? What were they using? I guess they are using Angular. I'm guessing Peter wanted to switch to something else. Yeah. Architects and Angular. Did you get any clarity? I'm curious about this, about why they made their decision. Yeah, very curious. Angular versus Vue React. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Vue React. Okay, architecture's the cheap way out. Yep, I remember this conversation. Talk to the architects, can and did. What did they say? All right, consider talking to them. Yep, general pattern playing out. You have a stance on something. Cool. Doesn't know if you trust the architect's decision to go with Angular. Yep. Okay, cool. All right, 5 minutes left. Personal stuff. Did not start to learn for the sailing license. Yeah, I think this is the right decision. Sailing for a long weekend. Gino likes the content of studying, so he doesn't make it for the deadline. Oh yeah, the sailing deadline. What happened with that? The deadline might not have actually been hit yet. And the reason why I'm burnt out is so desperately looking forward to this vacation. Yeah, this is another. I'm sure Peter's going to talk about this stuff, but here are the things that I think are important. No monetary goal. I don't even think we talked about this. Never talked about the D&D app last time. Curious how that's going and if it feels more like fun or an obligation. Okay, cool. All right, I'm happy with that. Let's now switch over to this. So I'm gonna just do the sort of logistical prep now. This should be pretty quick. All right, so setup for mentoring, click studio mode, start the virtual camera, switch to mentoring. Cool. Open Yada. Yeah, I don't interact during these sessions with chat. I know it's kind of a weird thing to stream because if I'm not interacting, it's like, why am I doing this live? And who knows, maybe that's something that ends up changing in the future. I'm not sure. I like doing it live so that people can give feedback as it's happening. I know that if it were a pre-recorded video, that people could still just type something on YouTube. But still, I think it's nice. All right, Chrome for Google Docs. This is here. Mentoring stream prep. And then I think we're good. Yeah. Just need to open Discord now. All right, so Twitch, we're going to change the title. Gotcha. Sounds good. 3D extended. All right, 3D extended, session number 9. The final session. Okay. Just change the title. We'll remove all the game dev stuff. I should probably save the old title. I always forget that. Fine. There. All right, delete game dev, delete C#. Cool. And then stop streaming on Steam. Where do we even go to do that? Over here. Steam. Oh, Steam was never started. Failed to connect. Weird. I probably got to look into that later. I'll write that down. See if I'm streaming on Steam. It failed to connect earlier. All right, so I'm going to scroll to the top of this. I haven't read this yet. We're going to switch into this scene. I'm going to get out of this, and I'm going to call Peter up. Do we have audio? Hello, hello?
Hello.
Hello, cool. I can hear you. Let me just resize this quickly. It's not bad, but I want to set this up. So this is, I was looking at our previous mentoring sessions and we started on December 21st. I just skipped right by it on the stream, but December 21st. It's been a year and 2 days. How are you feeling?
Good, but I'm happy that holiday is approaching and the vacation is coming up, and yeah, it's has been a few quite stressful weeks, especially personal life with buying in a house, getting the keys, and yeah, planning renovations. That is all approaching very fast. And typically our business side of things, career-wise, is pretty stressful at the end of the year too. So it's hopefully wrapped for this year. I am on my first holiday, first vacation day today, and it
Okay.
has been a rough, stressful, but successful year, I think.
Yeah, a lot has happened, and it's been largely a transitional year too, which I think is really worth acknowledging and just patting yourself on the back for having made it through. But like you said, rough and stressful. So, this is your second vacation in 2 months. This is the sort
Yeah.
of company given one, it sounds like. How was your first one?
Good, but also a lot of stress because buying a house is a lot of stress. But it was a good time to take off and disconnect from work, which was pretty successful, I think. I mentioned you past a few sessions back that normally I would take 3 weeks, or I learned that that I should take 3 weeks off. But those 2 weeks were good enough to disconnect and refuel for the past stretch for this end
Yeah.
of year session. Yeah.
Well, and I was gonna say, you did take 2 weeks, right? You said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Um, Wanting to take 3 weeks and not being able to, let's say, isn't so bad when you know that, okay, December's right around the corner
Right.
and now you're on vacation. So, and
Yeah.
then next year you'll get your 30 days of PTO that you normally get, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right. Yeah. So, okay, how about you steer the rest of this? I just want to ask some brief intro questions.
So I have one point before we get into this stuff. I know that you have prepared some notes. I
Yeah.
want to get to all of them,
Okay.
and hence you have to interrupt me if my notes take too long.
Okay, sure.
I
Yeah.
only prepared so some closure stuff, which I want to wrap up for this year, and bought some reflection stuff. Like a small retrospective to the end of the year.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so how have I been? A lot of exciting stress. So buying a house is a huge milestone for me and my girlfriend. And yeah, I mentioned we received the keys last Friday. So it's really new and totally exciting to be in the house, but you see all this other stuff you want to fix and want to change, and yeah, starting huge to-do lists, and yeah, dreaming of the perfect house until someone with a budget in mind comes around and tells you, no, not this one is not gonna happen. But yeah, it's exciting. It's refueling, and it's taking my mind off of work, which is really nice in this case. Yeah.
Wait, are you in the new house now?
No, no,
Okay.
no, no.
Uh,
We try to move in next September, so quite
September.
a
Okay, yeah.
few. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
month. Yeah,
And I think you told me about this a while ago, and I'd forgotten. But I was like, wow, if you are in the new house, your setup and lighting looks exactly the same as your old place.
no,
Yeah,
I won't achieve that, I think.
yeah. I was thinking, oh, maybe he has a green screen and a picture of the
No,
wall behind you. Anyway, yeah,
no.
gotcha. Yeah, it is stressful, and I think this is another one of those things. Next year, you will probably not be in the same transition period career-wise. As in,
Yeah,
I think everything will have settled. You'll have figured out what you're doing. It won't be as hectic, and you'll still be learning. But now you'll be in the transition period with, okay, renovations, managing
yeah,
contractors, figuring out what we need to do, budgeting, what if something goes beyond schedule, etc. I think you're equipped to handle all of those things, except that, and I'll mention this in my notes, I think you, as you know, tend to take on quite a lot. So it is
yeah.
possible that you still hit maximum stress level through this stuff. So anyway, that's what I would say to watch out for. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That is one big realization I took while writing down my reflection notes. I think looking past the last year at this point, I wasn't able to see myself getting stressed or monitoring myself or my stress levels.
Mhm.
And this is something I've learned this year. I'm not well equipped or well versed at managing my stress at this point, but at least I know I'm stressed or how much I'm stressed to counteract this
Yeah.
actively.
Yeah, and I think that's the first thing, um, is awareness. Just figuring
Yeah.
out, is there a problem? What are the signs that there's a problem? Because with that awareness happening at intervals, whenever the event occurs, you
Hmm.
then see patterns in how you get out of that situation. And something, a very small little story here. I've had back spasms at different points in my life, and I
Hmm.
realized the whole point of a spasm is your muscle is just contracting on its own. And I realized I carry so much tension in my shoulders, and it took years to get to that conclusion of like, oh, I just need to relax my shoulders, right? So I think it's going to be something sort of like that for you, where you're just like,
Yeah.
wow, I noticed that I'm about to say yes to a gigantic project, or I'm going to take on some huge thing. Do I feel like I can do that? Eventually, you'll feel well equipped. So yeah, good job starting with the awareness for sure.
Yeah. So one additional thing that helped in the last 2 months since we talked is my girlfriend got us an PS5, which is really nice.
Yeah.
I'm I wouldn't have described myself as a gamer, but I really like the evenings taking on some Hogwarts Legacy quest and grinding through that. And I think we managed to get about 60 or 70 hours in a few weeks of this game.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's another option to regulate stress, and it has been really nice to get back into something which is completely um, out of life
Yeah,
situations.
it's just entertainment. Also, I think
Yeah.
it's good to have different entertainment tools in the toolbox, because you mentioned a while ago you're like, I watch YouTube or Twitch. You've got games, you had coding, you have sailing, you have,
Mhm.
and that way you can bounce between anything when you feel burned out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, for me, a lot of times it's like there will be a period of 1 or 2 months where I'm playing a game, and Hogwarts Legacy, as far as I understand, it has an end, and you'll be like, okay, now I'm done with it. It's not gonna last forever, and that's it. You sort of close that chapter of your entertainment life, and I think it's good you're disconnecting. So,
Mhm.
congrats to your girlfriend for coming up with a good gift idea.
I think the she gifted herself a two, but it was nevertheless a
Yeah,
really
still,
good
it's yeah,
gift. Yeah.
a couple gift, but still good.
And to the point of Hogwarts Legacy has an end. The end is only reached if you have 100% of the game. So it's quite a lot to do afterward, after the main quest or main storyline
Yeah,
finishes.
but you could
But yeah,
always
it's
you could decide
exciting.
not to do it or something. I
Yeah,
guess what I meant
yeah.
is, like, World of Warcraft has been going on for the last 20 years.
I
So
see.
there's
Yeah,
no real end. You'll just keep playing until they finally say we're closing down the game.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, that's to my stress levels. I think it's currently I'm managing them currently well. I am not looking forward to the stress added by the house. I have to be honest, but it's something I want to do, and I think I'm looking back on it. I will be glad to have done it.
I think so too. You know, we talked about it on a work perspective. If your team has too much work, what do? You add people, you cut down the work. It's the same
Yeah,
thing with the house. If you feel like, okay, there's no way we're going to get this done by September, then you cut some of it out, you save some of it for later, you do it yourself, you I don't know what. But
yeah,
I think just keep that in mind, that there are routes. It's like even with the sailing thing. You originally want to get that license and you wanted to push yourself really hard, and then you realize, wait, there's another solution. And it sounds like it's a totally great solution. It's not like you
yeah,
had to sacrifice a lot for it. So hopefully there's something like that with the house too, and just figuring out what's the most important stuff.
yeah.
So yeah, I wish you luck. I think that will be the difficulty of 2025 for sure.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because you mentioned it, this selling stuff, and I think I've seen you written down the question. I've not studied for the selling license, and hence I'm not trying to get it this year or next year even.
Yeah, and to close the loop on that, how do you feel about that? Are you disappointed? Are you happy? Are you relieved?
I'm relieved that I took the decision. That is, a decision is on hand. I'm a little bit frustrated. I wasn't able to manage to get this license within the 1.5 years I I owned the practical examination part of it. But it's nothing that bothers me on a regular basis. I I have a sheet with New Year's resolutions
Yeah.
on my fridge hanging, and this is the only point that it wasn't ticked off. That is bothering me, but in 8 days this sheet will fall, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you know, you've seen me manage tasks on stream, and every once in a while I have an issue with like 30 tasks, and I haven't done five
Mhm.
of them. And it's the same thing, like you said, you pull that sheet off of your fridge or your wall or something like that, and then yeah, it's not in your mind anymore. What I think is important is beforehand, this was a goal of yours, and like you said, for a year and a half. And even it was to the point where you were asking me in one of the sessions, like, how do I get this done? And I was kind of asking, like, does it need to get done? Um,
Yeah.
why I say I think it's worth closing the loop on this stuff is you're going to be, I think, for the rest of your career, probably in this same situation where here's a project on the surface, it looks like something I want to do, it looks like something I have fun doing, but I don't have the time or I don't have the sort of freedom from stress. So do I do it? And if afterward you could say, you know what, that wasn't so bad. Okay, I took it off my list and I'm just done
Mhm.
now. Then cool, you've gone full circle and you realize this won't be some top
Yeah.
of mind thing for the rest of your life. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to removing the sheet. But I think it will be sticking in my mind on every sailing trip. That is the loop on every sailing trip I took until now. My goal was to sail for this license,
Yeah.
and now I'm sailing because I have fun doing it. But obviously, that will remind me that I don't have the license. But maybe this will come in a few years, and I take it on
I,
then
I mean,
when it fits
yeah,
better.
maybe. And this is what I find kind of interesting. I've been playing a game lately, and it doesn't matter what game, but there's a way that you can make progress, and at some point it stops, and all you're left with is what goals do you have as a player now?
Hmm.
And it feels a little weird when you stop making that extra progress. It's like it's
Yeah.
nice to play. So that sort of fell off for you with this sailing thing where you felt like, oh, I'm filling an experience bar almost, and it's not
Hmm.
happening anymore. And yet you're still having fun doing it. And it's hard to separate those things in your mind. I feel like you're very progress focused. And have you ever, there's a site or an app from a while ago that was like gamify your life. You had like a level in the game. It wasn't really a game, it was a to-do list. And as you checked things off your to-do list, you would level up and you'd get rewards or something. Anyway, it sounds like
Yeah.
if you had, or if we all had that in our lives, that you'd be happy to have fun because you'd be like, oh look, I'm beating everybody else at
Yeah.
this. I'm having the most fun. So I have to ask, do you have a sheet for 2025 with resolutions?
Not now. I'm planning on making this on the night before New Year's.
Okay. Is that your typical tradition?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
after dinner.
Okay. Um, yeah, I think it's good. It sounds like if that was the only thing that wasn't checked on the list, that this is working for you and that it's helping
Yeah.
guide your year. I think a lot of people, they've got aspirations that they set for the next year, but they're
Hmm.
setting them usually while they're on vacation, and they overestimate what they can do usually because they think, oh, well, right now I have the headspace for it.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, if it's working for you, by all means, keep doing it. But yeah, hopefully that guilt doesn't, I don't know, doesn't linger for any longer once you've taken that sheet down.
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah. All right, sounds good then.
I'm more looking forward to the house project, and yeah, it's the only thing my mind can focus on right now.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's the new house.
That and casting Harry Potter spells.
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, sounds good. Lots of unnecessary travel. You went to, I think it was Berlin, what, many times already, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And there were still many more times?
So I was in the past 2 months. I went 3 times, I think, and one of those times was totally unnecessary. And this is something that quite bothers me quite a lot. And I know that there is no single person at fault,
Mhm.
but it's 2 days of my working days removed, and it's a lot of stress added to my week and for nothing. And it's not worth poking around in it because I talked to this with my co-manager, my supervisor, and he was originally the one canceling the meeting just as I arrived in Berlin, and he was quite upset. He has had to cancel, but there were too many cancellations for the upcoming workshop the next day that it wouldn't be wise to do this workshop. But yeah, it was really frustrating losing 2 days in the end of the year sprint our company is currently in.
Yeah, and had these workshops been going on, I know it still would have been stressful to have gone and to
Yeah.
take the time but do you think it would have been worth it?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is on the this was a workshop where we wanted to tackle the basically team building for the managers, which yeah, for the manager level. And I mentioned to you that this was something I was quite frustrated about, that there is no team spirit, not everyone is pulling on the same rope. And yeah, I think the workshop would have been wise, and the workshop is not cancelled completely, but moved to January, late January next year. But yeah, nevertheless, something that annoys me.
You know what I'm thinking? I I don't think there's any way for you to cut out this work travel because you've talked about it with me and
Yep,
this is some of the FaceTime you get with some of these people. I know it's going to be stressful. I know you don't like the city. I wonder if there's some way because you take the train to get there, right?
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
I wonder if there's some way you could spend that time on the train. For example, like what if you could play PS5 on the train where you just thought, you know what, at least it's not totally wasted time or I'm still doing something I'd want to be doing. It,
It's
it
not the train time I'm frustrated about. It's the evenings I can't enjoy by myself
yeah.
and or in my typical environment. So basically, I do 10 to 12 hour days because there is no evening plan for me. The
Yeah.
only one or the only thing waiting for me in the evening is my hotel room. And yeah, my time is better spent going out with colleagues or doing long work with colleagues together. But obviously, doing so long hours is really stressful and tiresome.
Yeah, well, and even if you don't feel it those days, it accumulates, and that's what makes you need to take
Yeah,
these vacations. It's
right.
probably why you felt so burned out before your 2 week vacation that you
Yeah.
had. The, yeah, the only thing, so I think this is what's tough when something is stressful and there is no like, let's fix this forever. You can't just not go to the meetings and you don't want to move closer and you just bought a house anyway.
Yeah.
Then it's how do you make this less painful? And I
Hmm.
think the only two things I could think of are reduce the frequency. So only go to the ones that are super important. You
Yeah.
know, maybe even advertise that to the team. You say, I'm going to travel 6 times per year. Like, what do you think is the most important? How can you help me with this? And then the second is to cut down on any sharp edges that are there. So you said there's only your hotel room to go back to. Maybe you still go back anyway, and like I said, you know, I don't know, call your girlfriend or you play
Hmm.
games or you tackle that D&D app that you started working on. Maybe that's the sort of thing that happens. So you at least feel like, okay, this is me time. I've taken
Yeah.
control of this. It might take some of that edge off a bit. Yeah. So I'll just say keep an eye
Yeah.
on frequency and how to make those trips more amenable, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, Video games, work on your app, call someone. Yeah, because otherwise, I think this happens a lot where people get into situations for short amounts of time, maybe like 3 months or something, that are way beyond stressful. And,
Mhm.
let's say, for example, that you got into a car accident and you needed to like go repair a car, you needed to go to the hospital, figure out insurance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Like that's going to end at some point. And during that time, you take on that stress and it's just tough to manage. This is not going to end, that you'll have to do this work
Mhm.
travel. And it can't be that it keeps building you up to the burnout point. And I know it's
Yeah.
not just that. I know your work is also stressful, but yeah. So yeah, do
Yeah.
keep an eye on that.
Yeah. It's also something that I added to the workshop agenda for January to talk about, because it's one thing to cancel a meeting 2 days earlier, but it's one thing to get cancelled while you are on the way in the hotel room waiting to go to the workshop. Yeah.
Yeah, was there a way for that person to have let you know ahead of time?
If he had all informations which were available on Monday morning, he would have been able to cancel the meeting Monday morning, but he hadn't. So there were few informations he was missing, and this lack has delayed his decision to cancel this workshop. And as I mentioned, it's not a fault of one person, but it's a mindset thing. And yeah, hence I want to talk about it with the team.
Yeah, and I think that's good. I mentioned this to you last time, and I stand by this, that when there's no solution to any problem at all, anyway, that communication is just the best thing you can possibly do. So if they at least know, hey, this is a very high cost activity for me. So
Yeah.
if there's going to be like, is there any way that, let me back up. Let's say you share this in this workshop late January, you
Mhm.
tell everyone, they're like, yep, that makes sense. We're going to make sure we don't ever do this again. Then this situation happens in, let's say, June. This guy does not learn something on Monday that he should have learned.
Yeah.
And then it comes time, you're almost there. Could he have still hosted this workshop anyway? Could it have happened? You said there were cancellations.
There were too many cancellations. So one person got sick Monday morning. One person had to travel to the customer, which was a really a high important meeting, and I acknowledged that. But also, this information would have been able to be communicated on Friday beforehand.
Yeah.
Um, and little things. As I mentioned, it's the end of the year. Our end of the year is always stressful regarding contracts, deliveries, and especially controlling for controlling the numbers up to upper management or the parent companies. Um, Obviously, yes, the workshop had could have been taken or attended to, but it's a team building meeting,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you only have to. Uh, Normally, I would, in my mind, the whole team has to be available for this workshop to work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't work. Yeah.
So that makes sense. The reason I asked is because there will probably be an emergency at some point, and
Yeah.
someone needs, and that'll happen, and I hope it's not as frustrating, although it probably still will be because you'll still have traveled. But there are a
Yeah.
couple other things I wanted to mention, which is you mentioned sickness and you mentioned end of year is always stressful. I don't know your company's data on this stuff, and maybe you don't even know this, but do you think maybe this would have happened in almost any December where people are like, I'm sick, I'm taking time? I don't know if that's happening. I'm not trying to blame people, but just could it be that this shouldn't happen in December?
Um, the workshop was moved back from October, so it was rescheduled. I think 2 times to got to move to December, and everyone was asked if December is a good fit,
Yeah.
and we were all on the same page and decided, okay, let's try December, and I would have been fine to cancel this workshop and move it again um, on a not so short notice.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious because this is another thing where if you, let's say, saw this happen every year where you're like, we just can't seem to get together in December, then
Yeah.
that's another thing where you could potentially bring that up. But I wrote this right in the notes. Good on you for realizing, yes, you should definitely talk about this. I think people should be aware, and that way they don't make this decision lightly. Um, if you were, walking 5 minutes to get there, you probably wouldn't care about a cancellation,
Yeah,
right?
right.
All right, cool. So what's next on the list?
I think the Angular versus Vue and React part is, yeah, our discussion on Angular is or not is still on the table. I talked to the architects deciding on Angular
Hmm.
and trying to understand why they decided to take on Angular, and mainly they were influenced by managers in positions or in projects which are based on Angular,
Hmm.
which makes sense on a company scale. If you think about it, like yeah, you can switch employees easier. So from one project to another, if you have the same tech stack, um, move components around, make learn from mistakes did in other projects.
Hmm.
So it makes sense on that scale, but the architect I talked to hadn't looked into the resources or dev skills
Yeah.
available on the market. So a purely um, internal decision on Angular without viewing the external factors, which in my mind had to be considered while taking this choice.
Yeah. Also, this is one, I'm glad you talked to them again about it because
Yeah.
I know you said it didn't make sense to you why they had made that decision. And from their point of view, this actually makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's totally reasonable. And then you come in with this confounding factor, which is also totally reasonable. And it
Yeah.
sounds like they're changing their, so it's like everything worked perfectly here. And it all came from talking to them and
Yeah.
by the way, if they still settle on Angular, then at least you'll be like, I understand where they're coming from. You might not agree with it. That'll still happen sometimes, but it sounds like you had a piece of information they weren't aware of, and they will hopefully consider that because it will be a
Yeah.
problem at some point if Angular fades out and your company's still using it.
Yeah. So one thing I think I wrote it down. They are preparing another ADR, so architect decision record for Vue and React, and for every project, both factors, both the devs available and the tech stack has to be considered before starting on the project.
Yeah.
And the architect prepared basically a micro front end framework which allows to switch the frameworks within each micro front end.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
and hence, I'm glad that this has been talked over, and I'm curious to see where this heads in next year.
Yeah, and the micro front end thing makes me feel a little bit better thinking that, hey, maybe we should pilot some Vue and React micro
Yeah,
front ends and see how that goes. And maybe they say this was a success, and now 4 employees got access to Vue knowledge that they wouldn't have had. And then they do another one, and now it's 8, and now it's 12, and it
yeah,
spreads to the point where now it's a much more natural way of progressing. So yeah, I at the very least, this process went exactly how it should have.
yeah.
So yeah, that's a good sign. And also that the architects weren't just like, "Hey, stop talking to us. You're stepping on our toes. This is our job," or something. It's yeah, this is
Yeah.
this is the best outcome, I think. Well, so far, the best outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens next year. I know that one dev is currently working on a Vue implementation or Vue micro front end, and gets strange looks from other colleagues,
Yeah.
which is as a manager of him, it's difficult because I stand by that he should use Vue at this for this project, um, but I think the colleagues forced to use Angular for the big projects aren't too happy about mixing the frameworks here.
Yeah.
But
It,
it's part of the job, and yeah, they
And
have to learn to embrace it.
it is, especially in tech. And I feel like that hesitation to shift to something new, it sort of makes sense from people who are just like, you know what, this is a job for me. It's not, I'm
Mhm.
not trying to skyrocket in my career. I want to come into work. I want to feel like I'm productive. I want to leave work and stop thinking about it. So yeah, there will always be some pushback, but the company needs to do what the company needs to do. And if you eventually want to be CTO, these are the kinds of decisions that do need to be made with all of that in mind. It's not something
Yeah,
taken lightly. So yeah, I think it's good how you're progressing here.
yeah.
I'm gonna, by the way, feel free to talk about other stuff, but I'm gonna cut off your reflection and go to my reflection
Okay,
and then
perfect.
come back to yours.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
So I only bought more reflection stuff. Maybe you have some other things you wanted to know for closure purposes.
Oh yeah, sure.
But
I
I'm
do
happy
want to get
to.
back to your list. I just want, and I didn't even write a ton here. I don't remember what I wrote, but for context for anyone watching this, Peter had asked me to, um, I think it was like focus on the things that you needed help on. Oh no, I wrote your quote here. I also would like to use the session to reflect and get some high level pointers from what you would recommend for me for the upcoming year. So yeah, let's turn this into readable text. There we go. And then do that. It's not big enough. Okay, let's see. So I wrote some things off the top of my head, and I think I went and looked at notes. So stress management was the biggest one by far, and I wrote a couple of points here. Stress relief. So it's like once you have stress, what are you doing? You do tend to do too much, and you also tend to expect very high quality out of those things.
Mhm.
So these three things end up leading to burnout, to needing to take vacation, and any of them can be adjusted. So you can find more fun
Mhm.
activities like playing PS5. You could tone down how much you're doing, or you could do the things you're doing with slightly lower quality than you want to.
Mhm.
And that is not, it's maybe not super clear from what I wrote here, but for example, at one point you'd finished your app and you said, I want users, so now I need to learn marketing. That's a
Yeah.
case where maybe that's something worth doing, but it should be a mindful decision that you take and not just a this is the next natural step of this project, because every project can keep almost going infinitely, and you got to
Mhm.
stop at some point. So there's that. Next thing I wrote was aligning yourself with the right opportunities. Your goal is to become CTO, which is part leadership and part staying sharp on tech stuff. So you're
Mhm.
naturally going to be doing the leadership things. The staying sharp on tech stuff is something that I think could mean different things for what company you want to be CTO of. So, for example, the app that you mentioned last time that I don't think we even talked about, it was just in the notes, that D&D
Yeah.
app. This could be a way to stay sharp on tech skills, but maybe it's a way to just build an app and have fun. And I'm not trying to say you shouldn't be having fun. It sounded like that was a stress relief task and not
Yeah.
a let's learn how to be CTO task. But as an example, if you were to tackle something where you say, okay, I'm going to be doing whatever front end and back end combined, and it's all these technologies I already know, that might not be a good idea if your goal is to be CTO. Maybe it's I'm going to purposely choose technologies I don't know, which is
Mhm.
a bad idea if you were making a product because you should always use what's best for the
Yeah.
job. But yeah, those are the kinds of things I think you'll need to think about as you're progressing here. And a year and maybe 2 months ago or something, I was talking to you about, hey, you wanted to get mentoring from your CEO of the company. And I was
Mhm.
like, that sounds more important than me. And you said, I've been waiting for you, Adam, for 2 years. So we're going to, but you should probably, oh yeah, I even wrote that here. The mentorship with the CEO is something I think you should go ask about
Mhm.
if you're still interested, probably in the next, handful of months. And
Yeah.
not even to start it, but to just express, hey, I'm still interested. It's now been a year and whatever. Are you available?
Mhm.
What was this other thing here? You'll have the chance to work on lots of projects and with lots of different people. Keep your goals in mind. Oh, yeah. Be picky about what projects you're going to take on. So, if you've watched any of the Ramey mentoring sessions, I think he's been mentioned having a hard time saying no to people.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you, I don't, yeah, I don't know if you had that problem. You haven't talked about it much, but I think you need to, sounds bad, but be a little bit selfish about how you're
Yeah.
spending your time. So yeah, be very careful about how this stuff aligns with your goals, and having something like your 2025 resolutions, I think will help with that, because it sounds like next year is going to be like house is number one, and then maybe some career stuff.
Mhm.
Anyway, next thing, what do I have here? In general, set your sights. You set your sights on something, pursue it, achieve it. However, you then tend to immediately move on to the next thing. I'd urge you to answer this question on your own if you prefer. What happens when you become CTO? Will there be a next step? Will you be happier? And this is, in my mind, this is an inspired question. So if you want to answer it now, then great. But otherwise, I'd like you to think ahead on your own time in your vacation that you have coming up. I'm CTO. It is the year, 20XX. How do I feel? What am I doing? How am I in a better position? And I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said, I don't know how he chose to see the CEO of Microsoft. He said, I don't know how Satya still even works for longer than 1 year. When you've made whatever it is, $50 million per year, why wouldn't you just stop then? And we both sort of agreed that it's like a bug, that they're bitten by something that makes them just work, and sort of prove that they can do what they're doing. And that's what got them to be CEO in the first place. And in my mind, you have a similar bug, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's gonna get you to CTO eventually, and then your eyes will expand to something greater or bigger, and then at some point you'll have retired, maybe 40 years from now, or 50 years from now even, and you'll be like, wow, I worked my whole life. Is there something you wanted to do that you didn't get to? So lots of rambling just to say, just please think about that at some point and see.
Yeah, it's a great question. In my mind, the point where I was when I decided to become CTO was basically right after college or university. And it was the unachievable goal which drove me for quite a few years and made my decisions, because I really admire the decision making made on the level of a CTO. And it was never meant to be my stopping point. It was always my goal to strive forward towards, but I never thought about the question, what is then, what comes afterwards. So it's a really good question, but I can't tell you what the answer is in my mind now.
Yeah, and that's fine. In my mind, the reason why I'm asking is because we all have goals, and when you get them, if you're a goal-oriented person, you're going to move to the next thing. And that's what had led into this question of you finished your app, and then you're like, time to start a new app, time to market, time to, like, there were so many things going on that I originally had said this as celebrate the successes and like look back and indulge in those. And I think it's easier said than done. So all of this, I think you've got the message, and it's hard to sum up succinctly, but yeah, ponder it, see what you think. And maybe what you realize is like, oh, I am enjoying what I'm doing, and let's just see where this goes, and this North Star can just be a North Star. So anyway, that was all off the top of my head whenever you asked me to do this. And then I wrote here that I went through our 900 lines of the documents, and I had 14 stars written in the document, and 11 of them were about stress. So it wasn't just off the top of my head. It was like, this was actually pretty true to the data behind this of what I thought was important at the time. So overall, though, those were just the things that I reflected on that are, I'd say, almost like constructive criticism. I think you're doing a great job at pursuing the things that you care about. You've clearly grown. You've got the position that you wanted. You've taken even what I've said into consideration. You've been gaining some awareness about your own stress. You're still pursuing things that you want to do. You're just trying to relax. So yeah, I think, like I said, stress management is number one, but you've done a great job in the last year. So congrats for that. And yeah, I hope the rest of your career in 2025 is great. We're not done with the session, by the way. It sounds like I'm wrapping up. I want to get to your reflection, but I didn't want to just say seemingly negative things. You are doing a great job.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm not the type of guy that is complimenting myself or taking compliments good or too hard. But even going through, I did go through our document as well, and it's objectively a milestone, or many milestones that I've reached this year, and yeah, it has been a great year with a lot of stress, and maybe the next year can be a great year too with a little bit less stress.
Yeah, and you know what they say? There's this cheesy expression which is if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
I don't fully believe that. I think work is still work, but I think the people who end up getting to, let's say, CEO level or run some gigantic company, they're the people who when you find them in their free time, they're still working. Like they're on their
Hmm.
phone on the couch, they're on
Yeah.
their laptop at a get together. They just sort of never stop. So um I sort of want you to separate to some extent the stress and the success because they sort of go hand in hand. Like you pushed yourself hard, so you were successful,
Hmm.
but the pushing yourself hard part is like maybe there's a way to tone it down a little bit and still
Hmm.
achieve the results you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so I'd like to hear your reflections, which I see a
Okay.
giant reflection in bold.
Yeah, what I did is summarize my past year, my lessons learned, and basically set myself up for a New Year's Eve where I can basically forge the new 2025 resolutions. Um, I don't know if you want to go down this list completely. I think the milestones and accomplishments we summarize while doing your notes at the bottom. Um, yeah, most importantly, I feel better equipped dealing with stress and stressful and difficult decisions, which was my main goal for this
Yeah.
mentoring sessions. Um, and yeah, it's not perfect yet, and I know that, but I'm feeling better equipped than last year, and that is what I'm proud of, basically. And yeah, you helped a lot, by the way. I haven't prepared anything in regards of thanking you, but the mentoring sessions were the time or we use those time to reflect or steer the path in the right direction, heading for the next month, and that helped immensely. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you for that.
I'm glad. It's weird because I set out on these mentoring sessions and I said, oh, I'll do 6 to 9 of these. And that's a large enough number in terms of mentoring sessions where I'm like, that's just some point in the future. And now we're at
Yeah,
that point in the future where I'm wrapping up the third of the series
yeah,
that I was doing. And yeah, to have seen the just progression of the three of you was really cool. So yeah. And you'll get
yeah,
that too with you mentioned that you're mentoring the two junior
yeah,
devs on your team. And anyway, it's nice to see, and I appreciate that you took mentoring seriously because it'd be different if every week, or every month you came back and I'm like, hey, Peter, you're being stressed out or you're burned out or something, and you're like, yeah,
yeah,
whatever. Like you were serious about looking into things and
yeah,
trying out suggestions. So yeah, um, I I I had this written somewhere, and I don't know if I actually put it into any of the mentoring materials, but I think mentoring is like me giving you a sheet of paper with some things written on it. The paper doesn't do anything. You're the one who
yeah,
does something. So, and you did something. Anyway,
yeah.
that's what I
I think
expected.
you put it in the contracts.
I did. Okay, good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm glad because it should be there. um, so yeah. So, biggest lesson learned. I want to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah. I know I have to cut myself more slack than I do. I know I'm a perfectionist, and I want to strive at these things that I do,
Hmm.
but I want to change this into I want to strive at those things I choose to.
Yeah.
I am currently working 100% in all my tasks I do, and I'm not reflecting over what are those tasks where my perfection is really needed, and I want to be perfect at. Obviously, perfection is never achieved. I know that, but yeah, I can't give 100% to everything. Yeah,
Yeah. I think that is a really good realization. And we all go through our lives with some tendencies that we're not even aware of, and we
yeah,
interact with people. based on those tendencies and their tendencies, and it forms a combination of these things that neither
Yeah.
person is aware of. And it's not until someone finally points out, like, oh, hey, have you thought about doing things this way, or something, that you think, why has that been the case? So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that is a really good revelation. I hope it steers you well, because like I said, I think 2025, it's like the house will matter to you, and
Yeah.
yet your career will still too, and there'll probably be 1 to 3 other things that pop up where you're like, should this be important? So yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds so cheesy and so cliche to put this down, but it's something that I wasn't aware
Yeah.
beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, the you are not alone, or the cutting yourself some slack?
Cutting yourself
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah,
slack.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think that sounds cheesy.
Um.
I was gonna say that you are not alone also doesn't sound cheesy, but of the two, I would say that sounds a little bit
Okay.
cheesier. But yeah, I agree with both.
Yeah. Um. This year was the first year I had real colleagues, real friends in the company, which were going through real the same stuff as me. So a lot of colleagues took the same leadership exam I took, um, as well as they went through real deep shit I wasn't involved in, and it was really nice to basically connect on them on the private on the personal level and not only on as colleagues.
Yeah.
And this was something I wasn't able to do in this company I'm at right now. I was able to do this in my past company, but it really helps to talk about this stuff. And this is something. This is also why this team spirit of the managers is
Mhm.
something um, which is important to me because I see what a team can do and what talking things over can achieve, and yeah, that is in this company a new thing for me, and I'm really looking forward to the new year and see where we go as a team, and see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I shared this. I might have said this at some time in the past year, but when I had just gotten out of high school or college, I thought, I want to set up the rest of my life so that I don't need to depend on anybody, which is incredibly stupid. But I was like, my hobbies are going to be sort of independent hobbies, and I won't need to involve other people. And I'd always heard the expression, no man is an island. And I was just like, I'm an island. I can be an island. And I
Right.
realized at some point, it's like, you can do a certain amount of things on your own. You'll probably go crazy as you do it. And
Yep.
you at some point need to involve other people. It might not be now, but at some point you might be in poor health, or you
Mhm.
need to lean on somebody you're going through a hard time. And I think that taken to the extreme, leaning on other people in this way leads to like an echo chamber. There are some
Yep.
subreddits where they're focused on the problems they're having in their lives.
Mhm.
And it starts to define people's identities almost. I don't think you're at that point. I don't think there's a risk of you getting to that point. But I think it's good that you and your colleagues have a way of figuring out what is normal and what's not. Because even just that is a good gauge of, am I doing too much? Should this be a problem? I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have, and I can't think of an example right now, but I've said something like, man, I'm so bothered by X. And someone's like, have you tried Y? And I'm like, no, I haven't. And it solves the problem. And I'm like, oh, well, if I
Yeah.
hadn't mentioned this to that one
Yeah.
person, then I would never would have known. So yeah, I think that's really good.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. So your tools for next year.
Yeah. Don't overdo the renovations. I'm at the point where I'm in my current apartment, which I'm renting, and I bought a house, and I am able to afford both of them simultaneously.
Yeah.
And that could go on for years if I really wanted to. Obviously, I don't, but it's something that I should repeat in my head when it gets stressful, because it is not the time where I need to be stressed because I have a hard deadline. I could move the deadline. Obviously, I have a deadline in mind, which is my birthday next year, but that's not the point. I have to remind myself actively that there is no pressure forcing me out of this apartment into the new home, and hence I can be a little bit less stressed doing the renovations next year.
Yeah, I think one of the best things that I've found is asking myself, what if I don't hit this deadline? What does it mean? And sometimes it means, okay, this work won't get out and the project will fail, or something
Yep.
where there are
Yep.
actual consequences. A lot of times, though, it's, wait, there won't actually be a consequence. It was just,
Yeah.
and, but you kind of have to go a level deeper and be like, well, the real consequence is that I can't trust my estimation or my own word. I think that's where it's like every reaction or every emotion, I think, boils down to just a few kind of basic ones. It's like you were happy
Mhm.
about something, you were sad about something, you were mad, you were, and then there are different variations of that. And I don't know if
Mhm.
you've ever seen the emotion wheel, but
Yeah,
it's, yeah.
I did.
And and it's the same thing when it comes to, what if I miss this deadline?
Yeah.
It's not just, okay, well, I'll be disappointed. It's like, drill into it more and find out, does this mean I can't hold myself accountable? Because that's what you'll probably think, but that's not true. Like, you
Yeah.
can, and it's just other things came up. So yeah, this all goes back to cut yourself slack.
Yeah. Um, on the same note, I have to starting the house journey this year. I was picturing myself canceling everything in my personal life, canceling friends, canceling sports, canceling any hobby I have, because that is the project in mind, and that is my big goal I want to achieve. And I don't have to. It's something you, I am allowed to enjoy the next path, a few months, obviously while renovating, and it's a stress relief, and I have to take my stress seriously, and hence I'm not canceling anything at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
again, I always say, these are the things, if it were going on for 1 week, yeah, by all means cancel stuff, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, there's no way you could make it through at least 9 months
Yeah.
and not have stress relief and not talk to your friends, not see people, not sail, not, yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is, this is why companies give vacation time at all, is because by taking time off, you come back and you're recharged and you're productive again. It works that way with everything. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, great, good suggestions for yourself for next year. And I agree with you. I think you need to kind of repeat these things in your own head as the
Yeah.
time progresses. Because yeah, there's reasons why the past years have gone the way they have. Um,
Those notes will be on my New Year's resolution list on the
yeah,
fridge. Yeah.
good. Yeah, I think it is good. I've mentioned this before, but like right above my camera is a note I wrote on my wall that just says "relax shoulders," and that's it. That's the one. It's an otherwise blank wall up there.
I have another note here in front of me. It's something I learned, I think, in January this year, and it's basically don't stress about it, tackle it, which I would rephrase now, but yeah, it's nice to get those reminders from past me.
Yeah, it is. And past you knows you very well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a little bit of time left. Interested in hearing my suggestions, excuse me. How could you improve as a mentee?
Yeah.
I think you've done a fantastic job as a mentee. You came prepared, you came invested, and you acted on the feedback that I gave you. That's about all I ever want from any mentee. And the third one is not necessary because I might give bad feedback, but you took it into account. And again, I'm not trying to compliment myself here, but I don't think I'm giving like bad feedback all the time. So I am an outsider's view into your life.
Yeah.
So improving as a mentee, I don't think there's anything I would say that you need to improve on.
Hmm.
And again, this is separate from like, what are the problems you're having in your life? There are improvements I think you can make, but
Yeah.
as a mentee, I think you're doing great.
Hmm.
What should you focus on? I already mentioned that stuff.
Yeah.
How's my English to a native speaker? I think it's great. You shouldn't worry about it. Yeah, I, I don't think there was ever a time I had difficulty understanding you in
Okay.
either what you'd written or what you had said. So there's nothing you have to worry about there. And still nervous before sessions. Any tips? Is it because these are broadcasts that you're nervous? Or?
No, it's because I mentioned this to you quite a few sessions back, because I can't plan them out, and it's it's not a controlled environment, and hence I'm nervous.
Yeah. Um, okay, so two things. One, I intentionally, when you told me, oh, you like to plan things, and you actually mentioned it as, hey, at work I have a problem because I enter meetings and I expect it to go a certain way, and I think you'd gotten feedback
Mhm.
on it like in a work setting.
Yep.
And when you told me I can't do that here, and part of it was you have to speak in English, and
Yeah.
part of it is that I'm asking you a bunch of questions that aren't what you predicted. I was like, I need to just keep doing this. So um, the nervousness, though, to address that, I think it is realizing that things might be a little bit unexpected, but that there are no repercussions, right? I
Mhm.
ask you a question about something, you've never said something like, Adam, that's too personal, or I don't want to talk about
Yep.
that, or nothing's ever seemed to rub you the wrong way. So I think it's just practice in those environments.
Mhm.
Now, with that said, I don't know how you get practice in an environment that it's like totally unexpected. And would you want to put yourself in that situation a lot? But at least when it comes to anything else, like if you're nervous about public speaking, it's, well, do more public speaking.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's put yourself in more situations where you don't have this control, which I don't know, are those meetings at work? They probably aren't exactly.
Work is a controlled environment for myself. I'm not nervous doing them. It's not quite true. In some customer meetings, I get nervous, but it's not. It's tingly in my stomach, and not I'm not able to speak suddenly. And this is the same feeling I get here.
Yeah, well, for what it's worth, I think you you still got the value you needed out of these sessions. So it's not
Yeah.
like it's a crippling, like you can't still
Yeah.
function kind of nervousness. So yeah, it's just doing more of this. So I guess go find more Twitch streamers who want to mentor you.
Yeah, a public service announcement. If anyone mentoring me.
Yeah. So yeah, what is your plan for the CEO mentoring that you talked about? Are you gonna are you gonna ask them like after the house stuff is done?
I want to start approaching them in the start of this upcoming year. I know he has a deadline. He will be retiring in 2 years, and I won't get a regular scheduled mentoring session with him.
Yeah.
It's something that is go to dinner with me if you're in Berlin. Tell me if you are here and we can go to eat, or yeah. So I think it's a wise decision doing that early, so we have plenty of
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
scheduling such meetings. Yeah,
Well, that'll make your trips to the city maybe a little more bearable if you're
right,
like, oh,
correct.
see, this is the chance to get mentored. It's just like sailing was a way to also get the license. So
Yeah,
yeah, I hope that helps. Yeah, I think it's a good plan. All the usual, don't overdo it and everything. But yeah, you've got a 2-year deadline, and then after that, I probably wouldn't ask him for mentoring sessions if he's retired. So I think that is a pretty realistic deadline. Um, yeah, so that's it. We've done 9 sessions.
wraps it.
You've
Yeah.
graduated from the Adam Learns Academy of mentoring. So yeah, but thanks again. I've given you all the feedback at this point. I think you've done a great job. I really hope you enjoy your vacation for the rest of this year and have a good 2025. Yeah.
I thank you for your time over the years, for the lot of ideas and suggestions you made, for the feedback I got, and yeah, I think you have grown me, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Peter. You have a good rest of your night. Good talking to
You
you.
too.
All right.
See
Bye.
ya. Bye.
All right. Let me switch back to my regular scene here. Let's all clap for Peter. Good job for sure. I've said this a bunch over the mentoring sessions that I've done, but to be on the stream, to share everything that you're doing, and to still want to learn and grow and do it again, I think is very good. So also, hey Bearded, let me read the short amount of chat that we had here. Some travel would be cool. Yeah, I think Peter kind of mentioned it, but the work days stretch longer, and then there's no reason to sort of go back to the hotel. It's not like, oh, it's my home, I'm going back, I'm doing all my normal stuff. It's like I'm in an empty room in a hotel. It's very different. I had diet engineer a little long enough to become a consultant. Yeah, yeah. I thought Adam's note just said great hair. Hey, Ender. Okay, so normally I have a decision of are we gonna play Animal Royale or not during my lunch break. I don't think we're gonna do that today. It is currently about noon. I've been streaming for about pie time, 3 hours, 14 minutes. I am gonna take a break. I'm gonna go get lunch, come back, and then we're gonna do the afternoon stream. And oh, this is the wrong document. Yeah, delete this. Cool. Yeah, so then we're gonna do this stuff. And I think we're just gonna kind of keep it light. I'll fill out the journal. Let's do this. Okay, so, oh, and mentoring. Did the final mentoring session with 3D extended. And oh my goodness, what is going on right now? Did some light work on Skeleseller. Yeah. Okay. I will keep an eye on myself. Yeah, you know what? I've started to wonder how much should I take other people saying, "Hey, keep an eye on yourself," to mean that I am overdoing it somehow. And I'll allow this. I dislike the German is what I highlighted. Oh my God. I'm going to see this as a permitted term now in the future. So now people can type this and it'll be fine. Anyway, I'm going to try to use it as an input for my own reflection because I think we get signals in different ways. And I think if other people tell you things enough, then it probably means that, yeah, you should keep an eye on this thing. Why is that one flagged? I mean, if you just had written this, it would be a weird thing to have written. But by the way, don't worry about the German accent. I don't think there's any accent that is a bad accent. And I definitely don't think a German accent is a bad accent. Also, as Americans, there are certain accents that you're more used to hearing. They might sound stereotypical, I guess, but if you say to an American, like, do a French accent or something, there's a certain thing that comes to their mind. And it's not like a bad thing. They're not like making fun of it usually. All right, I am going to go get lunch, as I mentioned, and I'll be back in about an hour. So I hope to see you all again, but if not, take care. I hope you have a happy holiday.